Obama. It is 2050. Sin has finally beat Sonic. Nina, I did it. Yells excitedly. The sound echoes through the empty house. Nanny left long ago.
24 months.
Ladies and gentlemen, Hawaii just won.
That's right. Hawaii is winning again, believe me.
This is KIT Radio, playing the best. I might mean the best hits in town.
Sorry, I got food too. Watch the Fetterman versus Oz debates. You know, we could do that. What did Quinn 69 get banned for? Was it ever confirmed? Or Crazy Slick no longer a partner. Erudite talking to Sneeko. Wait, again? Oh shit. 5 minutes.
Never mind, okay, we're fine. No. Never mind, okay.
Is this one of those stupid fucking filters?
Hey guys, just thought I'd make an apology video because, you know, it's going to be coming out now, coming into the light, and everyone's going to see what happened. So I thought I'd, you know, get ahead and just make a video kind of clearing it up, you know, getting my side of the story out there. So like 4 days ago or something, during the start of my broadcast, I watched a video, man. I watched just one YouTube video, just a single video. And in that video, it had cum in it, man. It had cum in it. It was some dry cum. And he also drank his own piss. And I showed it on stream, you know. I mean, it wasn't... How was I to know you can't show cum? Dried cum. See, I'm banned again, for the 4th time, and I don't know, man. I'll try to keep you guys updated. Don't make the same mistakes I made. Be better. Stay safe out there. Don't show come on stream, guys. Don't show drinking piss. You can't drink your own piss!
Wow, cute. That was the Guitar Hero song, right? This joke didn't land when we were kids.
Okay, good. Great, enough running. Okay, stop. No more running, please. Think dancing. Dancing? Yes, dancing. I'd like to see you dance.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, okay, but it's $50 extra.
Higher ups. Okay. Well, I'm going to call my higher ups and figure out how we're going to handle this. Okay.
My name is Norma Thornton. I live in
Zerka versus Bullet Mods.
Oh, no, it was Roger.
That's what you gotta do. You have to show.
No, please.
Because you know,
He's so good. Please.
You fucking loser. You know.
Loser. What do you do? Hold on. Cooper.
I'm a financial advisor. What do you do?
Okay.
What do you do?
Here's what I do. I'll tell you. Here's what I do. I cuck you.
Dude, shut the fuck up.
Oh, you cucked me. That's so sweet of you. So sweet of you, Zerka.
We're done with this. Oh my god, that was fucking.
This whole video was so... Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, dude.
She's
like spamming chat the whole time. She's like, I'm not okay with it. Is this video uploaded anywhere, just the original video? I don't want this fucking loser react to it.
Okay.
How small can I be?
Are you 5'10"?
Never mind, he's playing League.
You giving 5'5" energy, bro.
I was 6'2" according to my high school basketball program, but they lied.
So you're still way smaller than me?
Yes, way smaller than you.
Wait, Heckram? Yeah, I got autofill jungle, baby. Here we go. Imagine pausing the video that we all care to watch for some bullshit that nobody gives a fuck about. Oh!
How much do you weigh?
Does it matter?
I could have played Warwick, but you know what? Listen, Heckram's a good-ass champ. How hard can it be? Literally, no one cares.
Can Discord really watch Switch.
All right, let's just get past it. What are you mad about? Like, what are you so? Like you sound like a little bitch.
Oh, okay. Tell me why I sound like a little bitch. This is your assertion. Tell me why I sound.
You're feeling.
No.
I'm telling you.
Don't let him off the line, chat. Why do I sound like a little bitch?
It sounds like
I just used the wrong summoner spell.
And
how did I get?
Why is Ghost on F? Can somebody give me the original video? I don't want to watch this fucking loser playing League of Legends. Is there an original video? F. I have Flash on F. Why would it put Ghost on D?
You sound like you got cucked.
How did I get cucked? How did I get cucked?
I didn't say you got cucked.
You just said you sound like you got cucked. How did I get cucked?
No, I'm not saying you got cucked, but in your exact
words, you fucking retard.
No, my words were, it sounds like you got cucked.
So how?
It sounds like you're angry because you're in love with this girl and I'm in her house, right?
I am definitely in love with BX in Kansas. What the fuck am I gonna do with BX in Kansas? Well, she lives in Texas.
Did you dodge?
Okay, I'm sorry. This is just one of the funniest fucking videos of all time.
So this is your chat?
Yeah, you need to go to at me, and then pats himself on the back and goes, "I won that debate."
Do you really tell people in public on Earth?
Oh no. Wait, is it even here?
For some reason, when it goes... Okay. They talked about.
You think I'm a brain?
I feel like, you know, I don't want to be on...
It's not the right video. So all of you guys were spamming chat for me to not click the right video. Now we're not watching it. Good job, Vim, and good job, chat, for spamming me to fucking click his stupid shit. Good job, guys.
Bullhead City.
Oh, wait, hold on. Do we have a chat hero?
It's real.
Oh my god.
Okay,
Thank you. Thank you.
I know you know how. I know Streamlabs works. Let's go.
Yeah, it's just it's not Streamlabs, so give me a minute. Hold on. I will add him, chat.
Discord, whatever you want to do.
Did you really think that Zerka was fucking Bullet? Zerka's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but I don't, and I might just be horny brained. But staying at a single girl's apartment or house for 3 or 4 weeks? I think I'd fuck my own I'm just kidding. But like 3 or 4 weeks. 3 or 4 weeks. And nothing is happening? No shot. No shot. No shot. 3 or 4 weeks? 2 single people staying together? Although Zerka might have been dating another girl, so maybe not. Maybe not.
Are you? I don't want to leak your messages, make you look kind of crazy.
Oh, please, no. Please leak the messages. If BX is okay with it, please
Look at how
leak
mad
the
this guy
messages.
is. Oh my god.
Go way back. Yeah.
This is BX Bullet's head mod. Oh fuck. God damn it.
Hey, Steven.
Oh hey, what's up? What are you up to?
Nothing much. I was
Yeah?
just gonna clarify for you. It wasn't just 3 or 4 weeks at her house. I spent like weeks at many girls' houses, and that's where that rumor that Zerka is gay started. Because I really don't have your libido to like fuck people and stuff. And plus, I mean, like, I know you want to like, it's more views if you go with that narrative.
And I don't. By the way, I don't have any proof. No one admitted it. No one said anything. So I'm just. This is just my speculation. So yeah, you know, I don't have any proof that you did, but yeah, you know, just a feeling.
I know, but it's just if anyone came to my chat and said I spent weeks at a girl's house, I would never believe them. But I've done that for almost 6 months of the year to 4 different girls.
Okay.
And 3 of them actually don't talk to me because I'm not like a touchy guy and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's not a libido thing or anything. It's just I'm close to God compared to you. You said you would fuck anyone after 4 weeks. You've never lived with a girl for a few weeks?
Not had sex? Absolutely not.
Really? You've never gone like, wow.
What would even be the how? What do you do?
What do you mean? She goes to, I don't even see her for half the day. She had a job, right?
You see her for half the day? What do you, she's around the house?
No.
Pajamas?
I would use her PC and then go to Razor's house. But that's so weird that it's
sleeping, waking up, breakfast, nothing. That just, it's possible.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe you. It's possible. Nothing happened. I'm just
No, because I'm thinking to myself, like, of all people, am I not like the one dude who wouldn't do it? You know what I mean?
Maybe, man.
But it scares me because, Steven, I'm like, sometimes you got me figured out, and sometimes you just, I'm watching I just tuned in for 2 seconds. You're like, yeah, no, he definitely like fucked her. I'm like, what? My word means nothing.
Okay, maybe. All right, I'm just gonna watch this.
Wait. I was gonna ask you, why were you watching that clip?
Tree of Logic came on earlier, and she fucking hates BX Bullet, and it reminded me of this drama. So I just wanted to.
Bro, BX apparently got banned off YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That's
She's a little bit psychotic, I think, but you know.
Really? What'd she do?
I think she's just lost on this whole like stalker shit, but. But okay, I'm watching this. Okay.
Okay, I love you, but your slandering is kind of weak. It makes it look like no. Look, you can slander me, I don't mind, but it kind of makes it look like you don't know me, and I'm like, bro, why are you treating me like a stranger? Like, here's a question: Did I ever try and fuck your Melina?
Yeah, we're in an open relationship. Knock yourself out, dude.
No, but have I ever tried?
I don't think so.
But how? I spent so much time privately with her.
Have you spent that much time privately with her?
Oh my god, you're a cult, bro.
Have you lived with Melania for weeks? He left. Fuck. Okay, well.
Of course you don't want to leak the messages. Of course you don't. Yeah, I would never recommend that because I'm not a fucking piece of shit like you are. I would never recommend leaking messages. Just like she was upset with Destiny leaking her messages, which you agreed with her on. Yet you're recommending leaking DM messages. You fucking retard.
You think I don't want
You
to
are
see
such
that?
a hypocrite. You are such a hypocrite.
Hold on.
Go- You have access to her. You are literally on her Discord right now.
She's
leak
not.
all of them. Every single one, please. Every single one. Leak every single one. I don't care. Leak every single one.
All right, how about this? I promise we'll leak them out. Let's hear you out
Leak
first.
every single one. You don't have to leak it. You don't have to hear me out. You don't have to hear my side of the story. Leak every single one. Please post them. Zerka, I'm begging you. Go ask BX if she's okay. If she's okay with that.
She's in chat, so she's in chat.
Go ask if BX
She's
is
in
okay
chat.
with that.
She's in
Bring her
chat.
on here. You're literally in her house. Tell her to come on here right now and see if she's okay with that.
I thought she's in your house.
No, stop being a fucking retard. No, stop it. Stop it.
Wait,
stop the
why-
trolling bullshit.
Why isn't she in your house?
Stop being a dipshit for like 10 seconds. Stop.
I thought she went over to your house right now. Why did she leave the room?
See, this is what you do. You want to try to deflect from the actual point.
Oh, she doesn't want to leak. She's yelled at me.
She's gonna come back. This is my point. She's gonna come back.
No,
She's
it's
gonna
just
tell-
us. It's just us. We don't.
She's gonna tell you to stop and tell like everything
All
to
right,
stop.
she doesn't want. She doesn't.
Let me grab a Red Bull 1 sec. God, this was so fucking funny. Why are we watching this? Because it was fucking hilarious. This is what Yang would want, guys. He'd want us to watch this, okay?
Want the leaks. We just want to have a conversation.
Neither do I.
We just.
Neither do I.
Okay, we don't want to leak.
You're the one who recommended it, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, I would love to leak it, but I'm gonna be a good person.
Every single one, please leak it. Betray her and leak it. Leak it.
I've already betrayed her. I talked shit about her before I met her. Remember?
Jesus Christ, this is my fucking point. You have nothing on me. You can literally leak every single thing about us.
Relax.
Everything.
Hey, little man, relax.
No.
Okay, hold on. I think I want to watch. Let's catch up with Sneeko. Wait.
Get it. But
Wait, hello? Did the stream end?
go in, Queen. Make sure he takes accountability for his but on kind of opposing sides. And she was super supportive of it. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I'm still waiting for him to send me his. Actually, I should remind him right now while we're waiting.
Who's sending who what?
And then after that, I've reached out to Trainwrecks and Sam Hyde, haven't heard back. So we're going to kind of keep exploring. I had JF reach out to me. We talked a little bit over email. I haven't responded to him.
Wait, did she say JF? Like JF Gary Epi?
It happened. Since your last Nico interview, it feels like he's become disingenuous and a conspiracy theorist, saying things just for clout and saying things he doesn't believe. Yeah, I'd agree.
Ooh.
Feels like he's gone in a weird direction.
Ooh.
And I'm super curious to get like his thoughts on it.
Ooh.
Like I'm curious to know if he feels like he's been sucked into kind of like chasing the clout trap, like just like trying to push on social media and realizing that like clippable videos, even if they make people hate you, are still really good for business, right? All fame is good fame.
Ooh.
All
I'm
press
sorry,
is good
I'm
press.
done.
Is this a humanizing episode? No, this is not humanizing.
Ooh, dehumanizing.
This is one where I'm going to be a little bit more like open about my positions and push back on him. I told him that I wanted to kind of talk to him about the fresh and fit stuff. Just waiting. Let me see.
Does Sneeko stop asking to come on your stream since it's banned, or do you guys just talk less? I reach out to him sometimes. I keep asking if he wants to go out to eat, but he's like in other cities and shit. And then he came on last time to argue with Abbo, so I think we're okay. I'm pretty sure we're okay. I hope.
Friend him on the cuck allegations. Gosh, So a bunch of people asked if I would watch that video done by whatever
Brandon?
that weird guy's name is.
That weird guy? Yeah, it's kind of weird.
I didn't watch it. I had somebody else review it for me while I was streaming, and I decided against watching it. It feels like an extremely
Hit
biased
piece?
smear video. I
True.
don't like the constant cuck. I don't give a fuck, to be honest. I don't give a fuck who people, what would people want to do in their relationships. Like, let's say it's true that he literally does enjoy being cucked, which I doubt. I don't care. Like, why would I give a fuck? And for his brand, it would kind of make sense to hide.
I
It's just
messaged Let's Go
weird.
God. I've tried to add him. It's just whether or not he figures out how to accept my friend ad.
I think the quartering would be interesting. Quartering. I'd really like to get Lauren Southern on at some point. Any thoughts on bringing on somebody like Colin Wright or Emma Hilton regarding sex separation in sport? I don't know who those people are. So definitely maybe. Ask him about how red pill guys send so much for other red pill guys like Sneeko, not saying anything to Andrew Tate, and academics not saying anything to that. And academics. Yeah. I do want to ask him about that, about basically being like, what was going on through your mind? I just want to ask him in general about it and then maybe see where it goes. I don't have like a rigid plan for this conversation. I just wanted to kind of touch base, see how he's doing. I had some questions. It was actually originally going to be a Lycan conversation, and then I must have misunderstood Lycan about his availability, or I didn't. I don't think I asked it actually. So I was like, let's do 2.
Good one. Good one.
Wow, Sneeko, sorry. Hee hee. Ooh. Do Lav?
Yes, do her.
Bring
Sorry.
Destiny in a call. He's
4.2 million stone down here and I missed it the whole time?
How's it going? Do you want to do live watch Inception while we're waiting? I am on YouTube, so I can do it. Can do. Hold on, I gotta swap my sound settings.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said the do her thing. My bad.
When is the humanizing Kyle Rittenhouse video? Oh, that would be so good. That would be so interesting.
Rittenhouse is mine. Hello?
Oh, hi, buddy.
Why are you wearing this stupid fucking sweater? Were you ever a lifeguard?
Yeah, actually, I am trained as a lifeguard.
Really? Tell me how to do CPR right now.
Correct. Sure, 30 and 2.
Really? Do you still do breaths?
Yeah, of course.
I thought they didn't recommend that anymore. How out of date is your training?
It's pretty out of date.
Oh, yeah. Well, there you go. Wow. Fake lifeguard.
God, you're so fucking loud. Holy shit, you're destroying my ears.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ. No, it's on my end. What's up?
What are you
Buddy?
talking to Sneeko about today?
I don't know. I'm not sure where he is. I want to ask him about the Fresh and Fit stuff.
What about it?
Did you watch the DJ Academic stuff?
Ooh, yeah, I did. Yikes, bro. Yikes.
Yeah. So I wanna see what was going on in Sneeko's head. I'm very curious as to why he like jumped in and encouraged it. I have my theories, but I wanted to talk to him about it. Do you wanna see if you can be in the call? I can see. I'm sure he'll love to chat with you. His original moderate daddy.
I kind of have it's funny because I've been asked this so many times by so many different people over the past couple of weeks. If I know a lot of stuff by virtue of the age I am and the things that I've experienced and everything in terms of how to survive in this industry. If I were to sincerely play a mentorship role to somebody and they ignored me, it would actually drive me fucking crazy. I would actually go insane. So typically, when I have people on, I don't ever play the role of like the mentor. I usually just like listen and then see what's going on. And if they ask for advice, I'll like offer it, but I'm never explicitly in a mentorship role. Because one, I don't think most people want the advice because people like to figure it out themselves. There's a lot of egos in this industry, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then two, like, I think it's very annoying and condescending when somebody tries to play that role. Did you ever watch The Wire?
No, I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, there's a line where there's a gangster about to kill another gangster, and the gangster that's about to be killed was like, "I was like a father to you," and then the other gangster replies, "I wasn't meant to play the son." Like nobody thinks that they need to be mentored. Everybody thinks they have all the answers. So I'm not here to like try to like butt heads with somebody. I like to let people, you know, figure your own shit out. So yeah. So
it's kind of weird though, right? Like I don't know. Maybe it's just coming from my academic background, but like being mentored is like the greatest thing I ever got. Like I got 2 years straight under like one supervisor in my undergrad, and it was absolutely a mentorship role, and it was incredible. Like I learned so much, and there's like nothing more. In my mind, there's nothing more enjoyable than like basically getting to be the student, because like first of all, like the reality is like you get a lot of outs for being like a dumb idiot. So if you like say stupid shit or you're wrong, it's like it's fine, you're just a dumb student. So you know, loving that avoidance of responsibility. But more importantly, you get like intimate one-on-one advice regularly from somebody who's been ahead of it. I don't understand. Like mentorship is like,
it's different.
I don't know, the best thing.
I think it's different when you're doing stuff like this, like online stuff, because the path isn't as rigidly carved and there's a lot of room for interpretation.
Isn't that the best place for mentorship though? Because you can have somebody like at your at your hand to like reactively help you figure out what's going on, and somebody who's been in it for 13 years. I know it won't be perfect one-to-one, but I feel like if anything, if you've already got a system and a structure, there's actually less need for mentorship. That's kind of why like
there's why people are happy slash another $40 down the drain.
You can say that it's the best place for mentorship, but it's also the best place for egos, right? Like if I go and I talk to somebody who's like a really good chemical engineer or something, it's highly unlikely that I'm going to be like, well, actually, I can do this myself. I have my own statistical methods. I've got my own types of data analysis. Like, I don't need you, right? Because like, who the fuck is going to reinvent the wheel on, you know, like stats or whatever, right? That it's going to be pretty rare for an ego to pop up there. But in like entertainment stuff, you're probably way more likely to, especially when you're on like, when you're talking to like leaders in entertainment, there's probably going to be a lot more of a chance for egos to run high there, such that people aren't going to, people just aren't going to want to hear the feedback, especially when you're critiquing them, right?
For sure. Yeah, it's like a mixture of both artist syndrome, but also like the artist who's self-selecting of saying, I'm valuable enough that I should be famous. So it's like kind of, you got like double level of ego going on.
Yeah.
So I guess so. It's just strange to me, but maybe that's just like coming from my academic background. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Mentorship
it's also,
is good.
and then like you got to consider that like there's going to be a lot of feelings, especially at this point now, of like I told you so and stuff like that, which nobody ever wants to. I would never want to hear that, and that'll make people like more resistant to like feedback and everything. So yeah, there's all sorts of, there's just a lot of psychological stuff at play, you know.
So have the tides calmed for you? Are you doing okay?
My tides are super calm. I've learned so much about fighting online. I think I've like gotten really good at navigating.
Yeah. Do you want to mentor me the first time I get a major fight in it?
Yeah, I have so much great advice if anybody ever wants to listen. Yeah, some people do actually. Some people listen to some things like, wow, I can't believe it. Like the number one thing is that like no matter what the online fight or drama is, just chill for like a few days and it'll be gone. Everything, like no matter what.
Always.
It was funny over the Mizkif stuff that like both sides keep coming to me like asking questions and like, should I do that? And then it's like, I'd probably do this. I'd probably do that. It's kind of interesting to see everything, you know, going down with everybody. But the there's that. Stuff will go away. Just, you know, be chill. My number one advice is don't respond immediately. Like just chill. You can wait like a day to put out a response. It's very, very rare, especially the more complicated the drama gets or the more organized your adversaries are. It's very rare that you're going to be able to come up with a coherent, valid response to whatever you're being accused of or whatever the drama is in a single, like, you know, 2-hour thing. Like, sleep on it, chill. Nobody ever got in trouble for taking 24 hours to release a statement. It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a good thing to think about, because one thing I've noticed like getting into this space is like feeling this rush to like jump in on stuff. And like every time a drama happens, I always just want to like go the opposite way. Not because I'm like even afraid from it. Usually it's just I don't give a fuck. And it seems so messy. But you're right. If you're embroiled in the middle of a drama, it doesn't matter if you wait, because everyone's waiting for your response. So even if it takes 2 days, people are going to still be fucking chomping at the bit for it.
There's also, this is something that's taken me a long time and I'm still like working on improving it. Something that's really good that if you can do this in life is learning like from cross disciplines and applying lessons you've learned from other things to other types of situations. So like a direct example of that is did you ever do customer service?
Yes.
Did you ever do restaurants in particular or anything time sensitive for customer service?
I did like fast food, if that counts.
Okay, fast food can be an example, okay? So here is a golden rule of customer service, and even when you're in the heat of the moment, it doesn't feel true, but it is, okay? if you are running behind on your kitchen times, and if the food is taking a long time to come out, as long as it comes out good, people will shut the fuck up and be chill. Even if customers are irate, even if they're obstinate, even if they're screaming at you, as long as when the shit comes out and when the servers are friendly, everything will disappear as soon as they've got the first bite in their mouth, as soon as they've got their food. The worst thing you can do, if I have the opportunity between taking 10 minutes to get food out that's late or 5 minutes to get shitty food out that's late, it's tempting to go for the 5 minutes. But if you just fucking chill, wait until the shit is ready and it's done properly, everything's plated, everything's warm, everything's freshly ready to go. As soon as people have the food, the worst they'll do is grumble. But if things are good, people will like laugh and move on. This is like a lesson for like, you don't have to release a statement immediately. Just wait a little bit. Even if people are grumpy, even if people are upset, as long as your statement is good and you've addressed everything, never, ever, ever, nobody has ever in the history of all of mankind come out and said, man, you should have released that yesterday. I can't believe you took one day. As long as your statement is good, coherent, concise, whatever, then you're good to go. And I think that's the same lesson I would take from like the fast food shit. What is this? Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I don't know if you've ever read Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference.
Nope.
He's an FBI negotiator.
Okay.
And it's super good. Like, if you ever want a really good book on just like communication and like, I view like most of life as negotiations. It's just fantastic. But he talks a lot about the idea that like deadlines are arbitrary, which again, as like a rigid academic, was like probably the biggest principle I still struggle with, where he's like, even if you like, he gives an example, like a story where he was like negotiating with a team after he left the FBI, and he was negotiating like a really big sale for this company because he was a consultant. And they like flew to, I think, like Dubai for like 5 days. And the whole time he says that like there's this tactic that the people they're negotiating with, where they basically waste your time the full 5 days that you're there until like the last fucking minute. And then they try to drop basically the negotiation to more or less like rush you into the negotiation.
Sure. Okay.
And he basically like points to being like, even if you leave Dubai and you negotiate like 2 days later from home, they'll still want it because they still want your money.
Yeah.
And you won't lose anything, and you'll come to a better decision. Like, deadlines are always arbitrary, which is like, God, I wish more people understood. I wish I understood that more. I still operate like struggling with that concept a little bit.
Sure. Although the one thing you have to be careful there, and this is never brought up when that type of advice is given. Similar types of advice are given like for job interviews, like, oh, know your value, be ready to walk away and blah, 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 blah. That advice only applies when you have leverage. It's very important to understand that. So gaining leverage is really important, because if you go into, some job interview, like the cock of the walk, and you're like super confident, blah, 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 and you're just like, oh, I've got a 4-year comp sci degree and no experience, like they're not going to give a fuck. Like you can try to, talk shit all you want, but like at the end of the day, you're replaceable as fuck. So you have to have leverage before you begin the hardcore like negotiating strategies, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. Actually, I didn't think about that. But yeah, if you have any level of power, then it's arbitrary. But if it's a cop and you're a citizen, you don't get to negotiate.
Yeah. You need the leverage is really important.
Yeah. So any other lessons that you've learned from the last couple days of drama? I feel like there's got to be a meta conversation at some point about like emotional boundaries. I'm
really good in that. I'm pretty emotionally unaffected by most of what goes on online.
That's the issue. That means you have no emotional boundaries because you don't care that much, which is like a tricky thing because you don't have these boundaries.
Yeah, go ahead. Finish what you're saying. I'm sorry. I just completely...
No, you're good. I think it's tricky, right? I think relationships. So this is something at least Nick and I learned in our relationship. Nick is so chill with everything, and he's just willing to like go with the flow. He really likes giving. He's just kind of nice. He doesn't need much from people. So we just like didn't have a lot of boundaries. And I'm a pretty conscientious person, but those people are really hard to know where the line is to like take care of them as well, because they don't ask for anything. They don't need anything. And they're kind of chill with everything. And it like sets up this like nature in the relationship where like one person is necessarily kind of always taking and the other person's always giving, but they're both chill with it. But it like establishes this pattern that I think is like really pernicious to the point where like the first time Nick like finally says no to me, I'm like, what the fuck, right? Which is terrible on my part. Like it's fully still on my part to be mad about being told no by something. So like what we did when we reconciled and like fixed our relationship and stuff was we like established artificial boundaries to some extent for nothing else than to like practice the art of like having boundaries for him. And it just like I don't know what it did. It felt like magic, but it just like really balanced out our relationship, even though they were kind of artificial and like stiff and weird.
Yeah, I have to keep reminding myself of this because I keep saying that even what I just said is I shouldn't say that. It's actually not good. And I want to teach more people this, especially people that have like a very lax or laid back attitude. Boundaries are for both people. And it's really not acceptable or it's not good for me to say like, oh, I have no boundaries. Oh, I have no boundaries. Oh, I have no boundaries. Because it trains the other person to act in a really selfish and inconsiderate manner. And then when you do finally say something, it's kind of hard for you to be like, hey, like, don't do this when the other person's like, okay, well, you've told me the entire time that you don't care about anything or you don't have problems with any of this. Now you're telling me you do? Now I'm ultra mind fucked. I feel like people are like training dogs. If you do something over and over and over again in a certain way, then the person's going to have like a huge response predictably because that's how you've trained them, you know? And I think I'm definitely guilty of that too, where I am really lax. I don't have very many boundaries, but even if I don't, like you should be like rigid about the ones that you do set, if for no other reason than because it gets the other person a more realistic expectation of how they should be treating you. And then when you do need to make an ask for something, that there's like, it's possible, you know? That's a really hard. Me and Melina had a really tough conversation because when I've been doing a lot of stuff recently, just like in everything in terms of talking to people. I did the Change My Mind events and everything, and I don't need anything. I don't need any space. I don't need whatever. I usually can just go. But the past few whatever have been like pretty exhausting for me in terms of like social battery and emotional everything. Like just a lot of stuff going on. And I asked Melina, I was like, hey, like, can I like fly back and just hang out on my own for a week? I just want to be able to like chill on the couch, not think about it. Just like, I just want to like, boom, like do streaming, not have to worry about any obligations, anything potentially upsetting to me, blah, blah, blah. But when I ask that, because I've never made a request like that almost ever to Melina, the first place that her mind goes is like, oh my God, so you hate me. So I'm a burden when I'm around you. So like I'm trouble.
Like, what the
so,
fuck's going on?
Exactly. Yeah. And then it feels to her, she's like, okay, well, I guess are you going to break up with me? Or doing anything? Like that's where her mind goes. And I can understand because I've like never, ever made a request like that before. So as soon as I make one, it's like, well, you know what, humans are used to patterns and regularity, and when you change things, well, what the fuck is going on now? Something must have changed in the relationship, you know? So I think that is important. People that say they have no boundaries, I think that's a thing that I'm trying to grow out of. I don't think that's a good thing to say. You should never say that.
Yeah. Even if you don't feel the need for boundaries. Sneako's ready. Do you want to join the call, or do you want me to call him separately?
You can ask him midway if he wants me to, but I don't want to like impose or be, I don't want to like, And it's your conversation too. But yeah, you can ask him later on if you want to. And I can jump in whenever if you want. So otherwise we'll just be listening.
Okay. I'll call him and then I'll DM
that
you
is important. People that say, okay. I love you, buddy. Be careful. Bye.
Bye, buddy. Even if you don't feel the need for boundaries. Sneako's ready. Do you want to join the call, or do you want me to call him separately?
You can ask him midway if he wants me to, but I don't want to like impose or be, I don't cringe. Who's this fucking cringe lord? Listen to this nasally fucking 5'7" voice. Otherwise, we'll still listen.
Okay, I'll call him and then I'll DM you if he wants one.
Okay. I love you, buddy. Be careful. Bye.
Bye, buddy. Hello.
What's up?
Woo! Oh, you're loud too. Oh, it blasted my ears. Sorry. Hi. How's it going?
Hi. I'm afraid to talk loud if I don't want to.
No. You're good. I turned you down. These headphones are like super weird. So I can have like my computer at max and it'll be really soft, but these headphones will be like insanely loud. So I just have to adjust.
Why do you always have to be different? You always have to have some erudite headphones. Some like why are they transparent?
Why are they transparent?
They look like my grandfather's
hearing aid.
I have cute ears. I've been told that I have like. Somebody told me that my best feature on my entire face is how my ears are like perfect, basically. Like,
I would have been offended.
Really?
I would have, that would
Why?
hurt feelings.
It's just a compliment. Isn't that a good
Because it's
thing?
barely even on your face, it's on your head. It's like your face is mid, but the side of your head is good.
It doesn't, no, he wasn't saying that my face is mid. He was just saying that I have really nice ears. It's a compliment. Wait, you're doing the girl thing right now. You're doing the girl thing where like if you tell a girl that she's like a 7 or an 8, and they're like, oh, and you're like, what do you mean? That's a good score. If somebody compliments my ears, of course I'm gonna be happy.
No, but they're saying it's the best feature on your face, and it's barely even on your face. That's like saying the prettiest part about your face is your neck. You know what I'm saying? It's just like.
But I have cute ears. Maybe he was really into ears.
Okay.
I do have cute ears. I also have lots of piercings, so I get to show them off.
Okay, you don't
do you not like my ears?
No.
Damn. Absolutely fucking destroyed her. Yes, king. Crush her ego.
Harsh mistress.
What does that even mean? Why do you always hold these like psychological terminologies?
because I'm a nerd. I don't try to. I genuinely, there's nothing more annoying to me than when people are like pretty obviously purposely flexing their vocabulary. I genuinely am trying not to do that, and I think it's a negative thing. I just like, I
You're
spend
so
so
loud?
much
Oh,
of my
she's
time
really
like,
quiet.
reading like scientific articles and stuff that it just falls into my vernacular.
I'm gonna be honest. You sent me those academic research, whatever the fuck, and I didn't.
I
read
didn't
them.
think you would. I told you you weren't gonna read them. I was like, "Are you
I
sure you
didn't
want me
read
to send them?" And you're like, "Yeah." And I was like, "This fucker's not gonna read them." But
I really wanted to have like erudite in my vocabulary too, and have a nerd ass way. But I tried it, and then it started citing sources, and I had MLA in the front, and it felt like homework, and then I quit, and I hated myself.
and she both knew what my name meant, even though she speaks like 3 languages, and could pronounce it perfectly. So.
Well, why don't you have her on your stream right now? Why is my dumbass sitting here?
I like lots of people. I don't like only erudite people.
You guys are sleeping on
You're gonna
Sneeko, but
get
he's
the
going to come
compliments,
around,
and I
guys,
feel bad
okay?
about not
Just wait
saying
for it.
your ears are
And then I'm going to be able to say,
You
I
should
told
feel
all of
bad.
you so.
I have nice ears. They're not 8 out of 10. These are 9 out of 10 ears for sure.
You were fishing for the compliment though, so I just maybe not want to give it.
Oh, I was boldly fishing for the comment. I wasn't passive at like being like, no, I'm not cute. I was being like, tell me my ears are pretty.
Yeah,
I was saying it from my chest.
That made my compliment disappear. It's like, no, fuck your ears.
That's fair. But now you want to compliment them because you're like, they are kind of nice ears.
Nope.
Whatever. What about my sweater? Somebody attacked my sweater today. Steven said that my sweater.
Somebody?
Well, you very clearly cut it yourself.
No, I didn't.
Somebody?
And then got rolled in the. My fucking washer and dryer are satanic, unironically.
It kind of makes you look like the way it's because you have a black thing underneath. It doesn't really look like a crop top. It looks like you're a midget with long arms.
Jesus.
I am a midget with long arms. I got crazy ape index, bro.
I don't think you're supposed to say the word midget on Twitch.
I'm not on Twitch. You're banned on Twitch.
Oh, good.
This is where you fucked up, bro. You should never gone on Twitch because now nobody on Twitch can react to your content.
You can't even react to it?
No, if you're on Twitch, if you're banned off of Twitch as a user, I can no longer even show your face on Twitch. So I'm not on Twitch right now. I'm just on YouTube.
Well, you can't even watch a video?
Nope. Damn. I'll get a ban evasion strike.
Well, that's why they got me. And I don't know. It was bound to happen. It is what it is.
It was for sure. As soon as you said you were going to Twitch, I was like, these motherfuckers are gonna.
No,
use
it's not
any
bound to
chance they
happen.
can to
Have
fucking
agency.
kick you to the curb.
I didn't even last. I got hit with ban evasion. I'm like, I didn't even.
How many
I'm not even
days?
evading. I was on there for a week. The first couple days.
Apparently he
wasn't
wasn't
even
evading. He
talking.
did
I
have
would just
another
leave
account, by the
stream
way.
running so that I can get partnered and like get in the hours.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 days, I gave up and I started talking a little bit. And then they got me for. I was eating a salad.
Yeah, I heard.
Talking crazy. I was just eating a salad.
And the strike was about ban evasion?
Yeah.
And you weren't watching like Destiny on stream or Andrew Tate or anything like that?
No, I watched Andrew Tate, yeah. But he's not banned on Twitch.
That's true. This is the issue. I mean, if we want to launch right into it, this is the issue with all moderation on these large platforms, right? Is they're vague. They're not clear about what actually is strikeable. And they use the vagueness of their language to basically like.
What was his first
just
account? It was
do whatever they want.
So to be able, they just wanted to ban me and they just got me. It was bound to happen.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh
know.
wait, did RTBA lie? Hold on, maybe RTBA lied. This came from the Bear, so I assumed it was true. He said that account was banned or something.
The last 2 days, today and yesterday, I filmed a really good video. I'm in New York and I just did a 1-minute podcast, and my new channel just got banned. I had a new channel on YouTube that I was collabing on. There's no point. I was just fucking evading the ban by using my.
You just can't
YouTube
fucking
channel,
read.
And they just
wait. What's the account?
I got to 30,000 subs, even though it was shadow banned, and they just banned it. So I just filmed this great video today. I'm gonna edit it. I have editors working on it. I don't even know where the fuck I'm gonna post it.
I said he lied because the conversation never even had an account before this one, Destiny. Oh wait, so your point was actually fucking retarded. There was no point to what you're saying. He did have another account, but it wasn't banned.
Yeah, Rumble I'm in talks
Okay.
too, but
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's just I think I'm just gonna leak the video. But I think that's the way to go. And
wait, how many core miners are optimal to have running at one point in time? Now I just saw that they give diminished returns.
I'm gonna keep going, but yeah, it's fucking it's discouraging.
Yeah, you seem much lower spirits last time we chatted.
It was a great video today. Regardless, though, I talked to maybe 400 people about what EA's been talking about. I asked, "Do white lives matter?" That's such a great title for a YouTube video. Do white lives matter? and then have an angry black person going "Bah!" in the thumbnail. And then I asked, is Kanye West crazy?
It's always better to have more,
I
but
asked
each
about
just gives
hate
less. Okay,
speech. I
gotcha.
asked like who should be banned on social media. I asked people to define crazy, and I asked them to say like, well, if Kanye West was watching this, what's one thing you would say to him? And I got great answers. Such a great video. And it's like I don't even know where the fuck I'm gonna post this, but it's gonna go up. It's gonna be up there. You should react to it.
Yeah. Do you feel like you've learned anything in this process?
Of what, being banned?
Yeah, and blowing up, like the whole process, like blowing up on social media, becoming basically like kind of a name. I shouldn't say overnight, but like really rapidly, you kind of went from being like a smaller mid-content creator to very large very quickly.
It's funny, I'm canceled, and I haven't been back in New York in a while doing the 1 minute podcast in the train. I'm more famous than ever. I've never been, if you guys can look at my Instagram story, that's the one Matrix app I still have. It's so funny that I'm more banned than ever, and I'm also more popular than ever. It's weird how that works. It's like I pretty much only exist on other people's channels from other people putting myself up on TikTok, and I have the creativity kit, and that's it. And it's just wild how you can kind of exist you can become like an entity that's stronger so I don't really regret doing what I did, because I think that
no shot,
God
dude.
has a plan, and everything is going to align itself. But it is discouraging, the fact that I was like really excited about this YouTube channel, and they got it. But like, what was I expecting? Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people told you like slow down, chill out, moderate a little bit.
Yeah, but they were always gonna get him. That's what he's gonna say.
Yeah, everybody was telling me that. Andrew was telling me that. Bradley was telling me that. But it didn't make a difference, even though I was adjusting it towards the end, and even though I privated all my videos. They strike me when I was in Bucharest visiting Andrew Tate for cyberbullying, for doing that video like 3 months ago. It was so old.
Wasn't it about the girl, the feminist?
No,
No,
wasn't
that's
specifically.
what these fucking bots keep talking about. It had nothing to do with that. She was not part of the reason I got banned. The second to last strike I got was for cyberbullying, for doing Lee, for reacting to its complicated videos, for reacting to street interviews. It had nothing to do with that.
Lee was the stuff where you're making fun of Islamic prayers, right?
No. Lee is where I'm making fun of girls with their long ass taped on CVS eyelashes.
Oh, so how do you know it wasn't about the girl? Like,
because that's what
YouTube
the strike
manager?
was.
Oh, okay. Like you can see where
I got strikes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
And then the third strike, the one that they finally terminated me for, was circumvention, because when I got the second strike for cyberbullying, first one was for COVID misinformation, second was for election misinformation, third one was for cyberbullying and harassment, and then like the final nail in the coffin was circumvention. So I went on my main channel. I'm like, hey, yo, I can't stream for 2 weeks. I just got my second strike. I'll see you soon. Goodbye. And they said I'm circumventing the ban, and they got me. But the only reason I did that, and I'm going to go take it to court. Actually, I just got a lawyer today because Google owes me $200,000 for my from September that they froze when they terminated me. I'm going to take it to court because I Show Speed, the biggest streamer in the world probably, he did the same thing. When he got his second strike, he went on his other channel and said, goodbye, breaking heart emoji. I literally just copied what he did. Goodbye, breaking heart emoji. I can't stream for 2 weeks. I just got my second strike. I'll be there soon. He's still up there streaming every single day. I did the same fucking shit, and they terminated me. It's really just, they just wanted me out. They wanted a reason. Cyberbullying, circumvention, bye.
Right.
Yeah. Just as an aside, if these platforms, this is kind of one of the big holes in Stickles' logic. If a platform wants you out, they don't need to invent a reason. Like, Google doesn't answer to anybody. If they wanted him out for a particular thing, they would just permaban him for it. That's super easy, right? Like, if they want you out, like Twitch wanted me out for the whatever related to the trans stuff, I guess, they'll just ban me. They're not going to be like, oh, well, we're going to ban you for showing up late to stream one day or not dyeing your hair blue. Like, they'll just ban you. It's not like HR is trying to cover their ass or something.
I've been super interested in some of the, maybe not shift, but kind of some of the content that you were making before you blew up. You're using a lot of Christian symbolism recently. Have you become like a Christian, or what's going on with that? Like,
my whole team is Islamic. My editor, my manager, my other editor, like their names are so Sakeb, Islam, Musa, or like the Muslim ass team.
Hmm.
But I've been reacting to and listening to a lot of Kanye, or now goes by Ye. And I really respect.
Wouldn't they care about the public's reaction to the ban? No.
I don't know what religion I will convert to if I do. I like the idea of religion, and I think that they all derive from the idea of God, and they pretty much preach the same practices and the same beliefs, just with different hats and on different days and from different countries. It's the same thing. If you really boil it down, it's the same practices. Pray pray as much as you can, connect with God, have a good family. Family's important, and there's an afterlife. It's all the same ideas. But I respect Christianity and Islam and Judaism.
Yeah, I mean, so the Abrahamic. So I would say like not all religions are the same, because definitely like Abrahamic religions are very similar. But if you go to like more Eastern religions,
I like Buddhism too. I like the idea. I think even Buddhism is very, even though they don't believe in God, their meditation I think is very similar to prayer. I think they take time to reflect and connect with the universe. I think what they believe in is the universe and karma, which in my opinion is God. God is just a different word for that. So I think I really think it's all the same thing.
yeah, that's fair. I just wonder. There's a lot of religious people that I know that would disagree with you on that, but I think it's your own journey. Okay.
Of course I would, but yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay. I was also, can I ask you, this is like, I don't want to jump right into the heat, but can I ask you about the Fresh and Fit episode with DJ Academics?
Sure.
What happened? Because I'm going to be honest, I was not impressed, which obviously you don't have to impress me.
What were you not impressed with?
I thought that the way DJ Academics went off at her was really pathetic and kind of gross.
It was too far, and especially the other girl, like he started saying, "Yeah, my man fucked you." Like that had nothing to do with what you're talking about. It was pretty disrespectful.
Where my low tier got in chat? Wait, what's going on? Hello? I messaged him on Discord. I'm talking to him on Discord. Wait, whose shit just got fucked up?
Really pathetic and kind of gross.
It was too far, and especially the other girl, like he started saying, "Yeah, my man fucked you." Like that had nothing to do with what you're talking about. It was pretty disrespectful.
Did her stream die? All right, well, low tier god time. This is the orbiter we need, guys. I want low tier god in a conversation with Laugh about OnlyFans. Oh shit. Mr. Girl and low tier god. You look like a fucking vampire. Never mind, too much. But jeez. Get that ass fired. Look at the views your new laugh crying debate is getting. Okay, we're not gonna watch this. Maybe this.
You know what? My fucking camera is
It's tied to OBS, yeah. That's fine.
My camera's connected to my
To OBS?
Oh gosh, I can't hear myself.
Oh, he can't hear me.
Nah, it's connected to XSplit.
Hello?
How the hell do I stop it from echoing?
I think you have my stream on in the background. That's how you're hearing me, and that's probably why you're hearing an echo of yourself.
Gotcha. Let me pause that. All right. What's going on?
Nothing much, but what, can you hear me now, or were you hearing me on my stream before?
Yeah, I muted it.
Wait, can you hear me right now?
Wait, hold on. I can't even hear him now that I muted it. You know what it is? I think it's my mic.
No, it's your headphones.
Wait a minute. Audio output to Discord? Yeah, I don't use Discord like this. All right, input device default, output. Mic.
Testing, 1, 2.
Eddie X.
Hello, hello?
Yo.
Can you hear me? He's gonna figure it out, guys. Wait, is this even getting a lot of views compared to normal?
He was like big.
Debate ends in tears. Oh my god, August. Change the stream name? Well, I don't even know what the stream is going to be. We're still waiting for it. Okay, well, watch this while he figures this stuff out.
Hey.
Choppy.
I can't hear you.
Hello, hello? Can you hear me? Nope. Okay, let me try.
I can't hear.
1 second. Let me try resetting my Yeti on.
He was like begging Steven to, and so
stop.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Facebook
How about
sucks. Instagram sucks.
Yeah, I can hear
WhatsApp sucks. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg. Fuck the metaverse. Fucking shittier, more expensive VR chat that you can't do anything.
Okay, I will ask. How are they investing so much fucking money into this metaverse shit? What the fuck is going on, Zuck? It is a good question. And Zuck needs to answer. Okay, he needs to answer for his crimes against the Facebook stock. It feels like a passion project, which is fine, but it's turned into what is it like a $50 billion passion project? A little bit too expensive for my taste. He was on the cutting edge of tech before and he wants to recreate that feeling again. Nathan had one of these costumes. It looked just like this. It's so cute watching like a little like 10-year-old run around as like Michael Myers. I don't know. I think it's cute. Maybe that's because it was my kid though. Oh wait, is that him for the emote? Feed Nathan. Oh, it is. Cute. Nice. Okay. Good job. Oh, dear God, trying to figure it out. He's gonna do it, dude. I believe in him. Oh, dear God, trying to figure it out.
Hello?
He's gonna do it, dude. I believe in him.
Yo, I can hear him right now.
Okay, wait, hold on. Low tier God, if you can hear me, I'm gonna walk you through this real quick, okay? I know you listen to my stream in the background. I hear it.
Yo,
Okay, wait, hold on. Low tier
I-
God, if you can hear me, I'm gonna walk you through this real quick, okay? I know you
Okay.
listen to my stream in the background. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
On Discord, I hope you're using the application, the program, and not the browser version. Okay? I'm assuming you are. On Discord, I hope you're using the application, the program, and not the browser version. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you are. Okay. All right. Click User settings. It's a little cogwheel in the lower left part of the program. I'll give you a few seconds to look for it. User settings in the bottom left. You're going to click that cog. Once you've located it, you've clicked it, you're going to scroll down to voice and video.
All right, let me try to find it. All right, user settings, voice and video.
Okay, now on this screen, input device. Click that drop-down menu, look for your microphone. Output device, click that drop-down menu and look for your headphones or speakers or whatever. Select both of those and I should be able to hear you.
Hello.
Testing.
Oh, push to talk.
If you're talking to me, I can't hear you. Your input device needs to be your microphone, whatever microphone you normally use. Your output device needs to be your headphones, whatever headphones you normally use.
Yo, guys, can I plug my headphones into my speakers? It's in my PC. I think if I switch it to my speakers, I might be able to.
Nope. If you've got audio coming out of your computer, you should be able to have audio coming out of your Discord.
All right, I'm checking the speakers. Whatever its default, I still can't hear it.
Test.
Speaker. Test. Here, let me try to plug it into my speakers real quick.
Well, what? Testing? Test.
Hello?
Do you have push to talk on? Maybe try changing to voice activity.
What the hell?
But the problem is you can't hear me right now. So under user settings, voice and video, output volume.
I think it's probably because I'm on XSplit, man.
No, XSplit shouldn't affect it. Output device, set it to try default or try headphones. Find your headphones or speakers or whatever's in that menu. Make sure the output volume is set to 100%.
Let's plug it back into the computer.
Test.
You hear me?
I can't hear you. Oh, wait, you can hear me, though.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay, wait. We're like halfway there. Because you can hear me. Okay, because you're not listening to me through my stream. Okay. If you can hear me, under input device, just click that drop down and find your microphone. What microphone do you use on your stream? Or better yet, scroll down to input mode and turn it to voice activity instead of push to talk. That might be why.
All right, what about now?
Do you have it set input mode? Left click voice activity instead of push to talk.
Yeah, voice activity I have set.
Okay, scroll down a little bit more and then click the automatically determine input sensitivity. Yeah. And then try talking.
All right, so go down to what?
Underneath voice underneath the input output device, look for the input mode, left click voice activity, and then right below that it should say there's an option for automatically determine input sensitivity. Left click that so that it's automatically determining the input sensitivity. And then try talking.
Hello.
Once you've done all of that, you can try closing Discord and restarting it. That might make new settings take effect if that's a problem.
My screen on the chat. Let's see. Here.
Yeah, this looks good. Just try restarting Discord.
All right, so I exited. I came back.
Or not, like you got to close a program. So like on the little toolbar on the bottom right click and then left click exit. Because if you just close the window or whatever, minimize it, it might not Oh, no, wait. Oh my God. Hold on. Wait, bring back the Discord window. Hold on. Show me the Discord window again. Okay, on the bottom left, the microphone has a red slash through it. You're muted on Discord. That was the issue.
All right, are we good?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What's up?
Excellent. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. Just hanging out.
I've got to ask, how did you find out about me?
There's like a whole tier of streamers that are just fascinating to watch. So you used to be in this bucket of people of like, not to sound mean, but like DSP. Do you know who that is?
Of course.
Okay, yeah, DSP, Wings of Redemption, Low Tier God, like all, kind of like the crazy internet antics. So there's just like a bunch of like old like YouTubers and stuff that I used to watch their shit that I thought was like really funny. And you were part of that legendary collection of characters.
Yeah, so one of the main things, so the reason why I know about DSP is because so when I was first trying to do the whole YouTube thing, everybody kept calling me a black DSP. Now at first, I didn't know what that was. I'm like, what the hell is a black DSP? So what I did was I used that and I literally would tag everybody on Twitter like, yeah, people keep saying I'm a black DSP. I'm posting in comments. I'm doing whatever I can to get known at that particular time. And then once I found out, I hated it. But yeah, that was a long time ago. We're good. It worked, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like so I don't have time to watch anybody like religiously, because obviously when you're streaming and shit, you're putting in a ton of hours. It feels like you're trying to be a little bit more professional or cleaned up compared to kind of how wacky your stuff used to be. Do you think that's a fair summary, or do you think you're just like, no, you do the same shit now?
No, I definitely don't do the same shit. So there was a period where I got bored with YouTube, right? So I would upload maybe once every 30 days, 2 videos a month. I was like, you know what, let me try something different. So if you look at my YouTube channel, you're gonna see a whole different demographic of videos. You're gonna see me trying food reviews. You're gonna see me, doing reactions. I've tried literally everything on YouTube. And I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna keep going. And most of the stuff you've seen, if not all of it, has been stream clips. So
Yeah,
what you
of
do on
course,
stream, yeah, that's different than what's gonna be on a video. So I would definitely say, as you become seasoned in the game, of course, you change things up. So yeah, I like where I'm at now more than ever. I'm actually enjoying YouTube. It's not just, I'm a black guy that plays Street Fighter and plays fighting games. I'm doing everything. I'm covering media topics. I'm doing reactions and having a good time.
Do you, do you mind me asking how old are you? Or I don't know if you're private with that, you don't have to say.
Well, everybody thinks I'm 40 because I had an ex-girlfriend that tried to say I was a particular age.
Okay.
But that's not true. Regardless of what people think, that's not true. If I tell you personally, then everybody's I want to keep some things mystique. How about I just DM you?
Yeah, or no, you know what? You don't even have to tell me. I was just curious.
Yeah. But if everybody thinks I'm 40, then hey, we'll just say, fuck it, I'm 40.
Sure, gotcha. The only reason I asked is I'm kind of curious lately. So I'm 33, and my background on the internet, what I was typically known for was being very, very, very edgy. Super. That was who I was basically. And the style of my content and what I've done has radically changed over the years. And sometimes I kind of wonder as I go through how much was just it feels so lame to say this. I feel like a geezer or whatever, but like how much is like a young man's energy versus how much is like you've genuinely made, a conscious decision to be like a different type of person. Because people would always tell me, like, I remember arguing with CEOs of like esports companies and shit. They're like, when you get older, you're not going to do this shit anymore. I was like, fuck you. You don't know. You're just a fucking sellout. You're an old geezer. Fuck. You don't know anything. And then I get a little bit older, and now I see a lot of these other younger people. It might be like Gideons. It might be Sneekos. It might be, people that are complaining about things like, man, you're just young. You guys will grow out of this shit. Like, trust me. Do you ever think about things in that term? Do you think that like age plays a big factor in chilling out, or was it like personal reflection and shit you did, or how do you feel like that journey works?
For me, it's never been about age because it's always been about personal reflection. I mean, before there was a Sneeko, a Speed, or anything like that, I was that irate guy on the internet. Like that's what I used to do. Obviously, that's most of the things that you're watching, but in the end, that doesn't pay off. I've upset a lot of people over the years with some of the shit that I said, and I've been making people mad on the internet for like, wow. I mean, I've been doing YouTube since 2014. So anybody that watches me, they can see the growth. I wouldn't say it came with age, it just came with getting with the times.
Sure.
Like there's just certain shit you can't see on the internet anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Even in like 5 or 6 years, that's changed like dramatically, right?
I mean, I would say that it's changed dramatically from 2018 till now.
Yeah, yeah. Do you ever feel, is it ever frustrating that I'm sure you get people that are like, will bring up like the Viscount stuff, or they'll bring up some clip of you saying some shit. Like, how do you deal with people constantly trying to bring up clips and shit from your past? You're like, oh, you're like this, or like you're nobody, like, you know, this is who you are, and blah, blah, blah. Like, is that a frustrating thing you deal with, or do you have like a canned response for it, or?
All right, so here's the way I look at stuff like that. So obviously the Viscount thing happened in 2014, right? So fast forward, it's 2022. I mean, wow, this many years later, so 7, 8 years. The fact that people still bring that up and would think that it would actually taint me is actually hilarious. It's like, put it like this. So a kickboxer, right? Like a Thai kickboxer. What they do is they kick bamboo trees and to the point where the nerves in their shin are dead. So over the years, I've been taking verbal bullets for years to the point where, you know, at first I would rage, I would say shit back, I got to do a reaction. Now it's more like, okay, what's next? Everybody said everything. I'm 50 years old. I guess I must be on adrenochrome if I am, or if I am 40. You know, my ex-girlfriend left me. I'm a fraud. I'm this, I'm that. But you know what I really like? I think everybody has gotten past the fact that I'm just black and that I'm an actual person. Like, I'm a character, right? It's not just, oh, here's this black guy. It's like, oh, it's LTG. So that's what I always wanted. I wanted to cross over to the point where you wouldn't look at my ethnicity, but you just look at me as like, okay, it's LTG. It's that guy.
Do you feel like in the beginning days of the internet, do you feel like the black thing was like a big part of how people treated you or interacted with you?
All right, nobody's gonna believe this for me, but the only 2 times in life I felt like I've ever personally dealt with racism to any extent is there was one time when I was 16. I kept telling this girl she had cone titties, so she called me the N-word.
Okay.
At 16, I laughed it off. Right? The N-word never bothered me. I would like to call myself a new age black. Fast forward to the Viscount thing. I was looked at on the internet as like some black bully, but nobody ever really hit me with the N-word. They just kept saying, this guy's big, he needs to play football, he should be an athlete, he's big and black. But it was never like a racial thing. I've never really experienced racism at all. So yeah, for me, I was never just a black guy on the internet.
Gotcha. Interesting. What do you think your like goal is for internet related stuff? Like, what do you like? Are there other YouTubers you watch where you're like, I wish I could do like varied content like this? Like, I look up to, are there other like black creators you look up to, or do you not even think in that term? Do you look up to like fighting game people? Do you want to break out of gaming entirely, or?
All right. So, I mean, I would say I'm fortunate enough to kind of do whatever. I'm not gonna say do whatever I want on YouTube, but do things where people don't mind seeing me step out of my comfort zone. So, you know, you might know me as playing Street Fighter or fighting games, but the fact that I can do a topic on Kanye West or what's her name, Amaranth, or I forgot. I don't know how you say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do a topic on her. I can do a topic on Jidian or any other popular YouTubers. To me, that's what makes things fun for me. It's not just, oh, let's play video games. So I feel like I'm going in the direction of where I can tap into media and still do what people, you know me for best, is playing video games, but I don't have to play video games. You can watch me stream and do that.
Yeah. One of the big challenges when people try to break out of what they're traditionally known for is the prior audience that you had will have really negative reactions. Did you have to go through that initially, where people would see you talking about shit? They'd be like, bro, just play Street Fighter. Like, we don't want to see this shit. You know, did you ever go through that, or were people pretty receptive to you changing up?
In streams, you know, I still get it to this day. Just play Street Fighter, you know, shut the fuck up and play Street Fighter. But I think that my audience and I'm not trying to make it sound like everything's been perfect, but I think that my audience has definitely graduated with me. And on top of that, I've been able to open up my my demographics and add more females that watch me, people from different areas of the world. It's not just people who play video games that watch me anymore. So, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to be able to speak on any type of topic and people pay attention.
Gotcha. Are there other creators that you like really want to collaborate with, or have you reached out to people? Or actually, before I get into that, how'd you find my shit? What was the connection there?
Well, I think I ran into you about 3 months ago. Somebody said, yeah, somebody in Destiny started watching your shit. I was like, okay, who's Destiny? So then I started checking you out, and it's more of me on YouTube. I don't watch anything that's informative. I mean, I don't watch anything that's not informative, excuse me.
Gotcha.
So I don't watch, like, I pay attention, but I don't watch the lit streamers, you know? Like, if it's not informative, if I can't put it on while I'm at the gym and soak up something new, I literally don't watch it. So I watch you, I watch academics, I was watching Sneeko, I watch Abba and Preach every day. So it's something that I could soak up. As far as looking up to Black content creators, you did ask me that. I mean, who is out there that you can even look up to that's Black?
Yeah, so I was gonna, or go ahead, finish that.
No, outside of Abba and Preach, like, I mean, who else is there?
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you, because now that you mentioned that, and I know that obviously you've gotten flack for your take on like Black content creators and stuff before, or Black people in general. I'm guessing you're not a big fan of stuff like if I say like the WL community, does that mean anything to you? Or like, I guess like the speed people and all of that, are you not fans of like this style of content? Or do you have like strong opinions on what like Black entertainment looks like in general when it comes to online streaming content?
I'm not gonna say I'm not a fan, because I mean, I pay attention, and you know, I was that, you know, I was in the shoes of being, you know, a young content creator, just doing whatever the fuck, trying to get known, trying to be seen. So I don't dislike it, but I feel like there is no Black version of Destiny, right? I mean, it's not too many of us that exist that isn't more of on an urban scale. Like, if you find them, it's like everything's urban. Like, we only report, you know, Black drama, shade room drama. Me, look, I'm a Black guy that talks about everything, but I just happen to be Black. But I don't let the fact that me being Black, like, that's not what you're looking at when you come to my streams. It's not what you're looking at when you come to my videos. I just happen to be Black. That's it.
Gotcha. I need to stop saying gotcha. So this is it's a really interesting topic to me, because like it's interesting because I don't have to personally deal with it, so I can just be interested. I don't have to worry about like these types of expectations or anything. But something that I've spoken with about a lot of like Black creators and Black people in general is there's always kind of this weird line between like what is being like a race traitor. Like, you've been called, I'm not gonna say the words, but like you've been called like C words or Uncle Tom or whatever, or people will say that like you are racist, you self-hatred, you hate Black people. There's always like these this fine line between like what does it mean to be Black versus what does it mean to be educated versus what does it mean to do like Black entertainment versus whatever entertainment. Have you spent a lot of time personally kind of like thinking about I guess like your way of approaching those topics, or the type of engagement that you have with that stuff? And then obviously I know you must have seen like a lot of like the feedback that people give you and everything in terms of like, oh, like he's self-hatred, he hates Black people, blah blah blah. Have you thought about all of that?
Yeah, for me, I've always been that Black guy that people made fun of for the way I spoke, or that's just the way it's been. Like, growing up, I've always been that guy that's never been liked because I was never Black enough. So, for me, I've always been called like, oh, you're a C, let's just call it double O.
Sure.
The C, I call it a double O, the C word. You're Uncle Tom, this and that. My thing is, I'm not the guy that is going to sugarcoat the shit Blacks do. So in the Black community, if you don't ride the wave, if you don't go with the grain, then you're a sellout. If you don't speak cool enough, you're a square. So I mean, I've been hearing that since I've been in the 3rd grade. Like, oh, you're a square. Oh, he's soft. Blah blah blah. So for me, it's like I got to an age after trying to be accepted by a certain part of the Black community. I got to an age where one day I just said, "Fuck it." You know what? Instead of me trying to put up a facade on how to be Black, you know what? I'm just gonna be me. There was a particular time where I had like ditched all of my friends that weren't Black, and then I had switched over to only try to hang out with Blacks. And this was, you know, when I was a teenager, and it was just one of the worst experiences. I had to fake being who I was. I didn't play video games anymore. I wasn't having fun. I felt like I was getting in trouble. So for me, it's always been a thing. I've never been fully accepted in the Black community because I was never Black enough. But now I'm myself to the point where I really just don't give a fuck. Like, you're either gonna like me or not, instead of worrying about being accepted.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's see. Or what?
Did
Go
you,
ahead.
can I ask you? So, did you pay attention to the whole, you know, drama with Twitch about, you know, Twitch allegedly being racist and, oh my God, you know, Blacks, you know, they're not showing Black creators enough love.
Yeah, actually, that was one of the things that I think I saw. I think you saw me reference your takes on it when I was on No Jumper. I think I saw that. Yeah, but it was basically, I kind of agree with you that, like, it seems like there are aspects of entertainment that are a little bit intrinsic to the Black community that's probably not like, I don't know if I'd say white culture, maybe corporate culture friendly to, to Twitch. And that's why, you know, they probably don't feature the content as much. Although they've started to now, you know, they're tweeting about it and shit. But, yeah.
I mean, I felt like they had to. No, you know, no company wants to be labeled a racist. So I guess if people keep calling you out for it, I would say, especially Blacks in general, you know, we like to, I'm going to say we because I'm Black, so I could speak, you know, for a portion of Blacks. I feel like we like to use the pandering card. I feel like we think that a lot of shit is just owed to us by default. And for me saying this, I'm going to be looked at as Uncle Tom. I feel like we're in a country where there's nothing stopping Black people from being millionaires and being successful. Yet we're still complaining about shit when literally the world is opened up to us. Which is kind of some of the things I'm going to talk about tonight when I speak on Kanye West. Is, you know, you got a guy who was worth so many millions, but it wasn't even about, you know, everybody being unfair to Blacks while he was with Kim Kardashian. It wasn't about God. At first, Kanye West, he actually had albums where the front cover was devil symbols and, you know, Lucifer worship. And then all of a sudden, you know, when he feel like his corner's backed against the wall, now it's, you know, let me bring the rest of Black people in here. Oh my God, it's about God now. So, you know, Black people, we like to use the pandering card. We like to use, you know, what our ancestors went through as a way to try to get what we want. And we know what the hell we're doing. Like, I knew what some of those Twitch streamers were doing. They're calling Twitch racist, and they have a big platform. So with them calling out Twitch saying, you know what, you guys are racist because you didn't put us on the front page, when Twitch has literally put plenty of Black creators on the front page. I'm sorry they weren't jumping around doing backflips and, you know, like I said on the video, ordering Domino's pizzas. But, I mean, I've seen plenty of Black guys playing the drums and doing a bunch of shit like that on the front page. I've seen it plenty of times. I've seen Black girls in cosplay. I've seen it all.
Do you think that when people complain about this type of stuff, so you've watched Kanye, which Kanye West interviews have you watched recently? I guess we can preface it off of that because you're going to talk about that later tonight.
I mean, I've seen, I watched Drink Champs. I got halfway in, and all I could really get from it is you got a guy who didn't really speak on this type of shit to the level when it comes to being so much black until his wife was fucking a guy that wasn't. So I feel like that was the nail in the coffin. On top of that, there was a clip where he was, you know, I guess Charlemagne, he brought it up, where he was saying, oh, you know what? You're not gonna do anything and she's fucking a white boy with a 10-inch penis? Like,
yeah, I heard about
so
that.
yeah, like, what does somebody's cock and their ethnicity have to do with it? And I think Kim is what caused him to go haywire. It wasn't about, you know, black people are treated unfairly. I feel like in America, blacks aren't treated unfairly. There's people that are rich like Blueface, you know, a guy that doesn't even rap anymore and does fuckery. There's plenty of successful black people that do complete fuckery. So the fact that there's people still complaining in America when there's people, y'all could go on Instagram right now and be like, yo, this guy's rich, but you're still fucking complaining. Yo, I really just don't get that.
Do you think that when, like, if you're, well, I don't have to say if you are a black person. Do you think that when, as a black person, when you look around and you see, when you see so many white people or Jewish people in Kanye West, like, sense that are like at the heads of banks or heads of finance, when you see white people that can say things like, oh yeah, you know, like my great granddad, you know, he came over here, he had a business in New York, and you know, we've had this family, we've lived in this house for, you know, 3 generations. And then you've got some people who are like, oh yeah, like my grandma couldn't go to a school with white people in it. She had to drink on, like, you know, colored only water fountains and stuff. Do you think that some of the resentment is legitimate, where people are like, yeah, you know, like today, at least by the letter of the law, black people are fine, right? There's not like laws discriminating explicitly against black people. But when you look at like the types of people that get arrested for marijuana, the cities that black people, or the parts of cities that black people tend to live in, like, and the fact that none of that is on accident, right? There's like stuff that happened in the past that basically set the black communities up for failure. Do you think it's okay for any of them to feel like there is some resentment there, where it's like, yeah, sure, maybe it's not, you know, explicitly fucked today, but it's not like we're all like this, you know, by accident, you know, in some ways it was by design.
I would say by programming, by default, there's going to be some resentment, because if you look around, there is no authentic black community. If you can name me one, I would love to hear it. You can interrupt me anytime you want. I would
argue that, like, in terms of music, like hip hop is a very black thing, rap is a very black thing, right?
I don't consider that culture. I consider that a genre. It's not actually a culture. So when we call hip hop a culture, let's compare it to let's compare it to, you know, African culture. That's culture. So hip hop to me has never been a culture, it's been a lifestyle. I'm sorry, but jewelry and Rolexes, you know, and bitches bouncing ass, excuse my French, women bouncing ass, that's not a culture to me. If anything, it's an embarrassment. I feel like the thing is why black people are upset is because there's no pipeline. We're the only ethnicity on the planet, in America, with no pipeline. But that's not anything we could, actually, that is something we could help, but we refuse to do so. You know, so obviously, you know, Caucasian people have a pipeline. Jewish people have a pipeline.
When you say pipeline, you mean like when there are positions of power that kind of help their own? Is that what you're talking about, or?
Yeah, there's a foundation there, and to me, you can't even have a foundation without language in the first place. So, how do we start anything to become unified? And why are we complaining when we refuse to unify within ourselves? My biggest haters have always been black. Some of my biggest haters in life, I've only had fist fights with black people. So how do we actually fix anything when it comes to other ethnicities, or how unfair we're quote unquote treated, if we can't even get it right within our quote unquote community, which I still don't know what the black community is. Mm-hmm. Now, you know, Jewish people, they're gonna battle each other in business. Asian people, they're gonna battle each other in business. You know, Caucasian people, they're gonna battle each other in business, right? Blacks, what are we gonna do? We're gonna battle each other on what? Who's wearing a mirror? Who has the bigger chain? Oh, you don't got this car? Oh, you just a hater. You don't agree with me? You a fucking hater. Blah, blah, blah. You broke. This, that, or start trying to bring up personal shit. I hear it every day. Mm-hmm. I'm looked at as a professional hater because I go against the grain.
It feels weird to be on the other end of this argument in relation to black communities. So, I understand what you're saying, and in terms of like personal messages or like personal empowerment to black people, I guess like for whatever the fuck it's worth, like I would agree with you. But I feel like the response back is, so you say that like hip hop isn't culture or hip hop isn't anything. When you talk about like communities battling each other for power, when you talk about like communities battling each other in the ways that they do, right? Like Chinese people might compete in education, Jewish people might compete in business, white people might compete in whatever the fuck white people compete in. It feels like there are very long and rich histories of that type of competition. Jewish people have treasured and valued education and financial prudence like all throughout their history, right? That's what they're known for a reason. White people have valued, whatever expansion, colonialism, expanding their empires, capitalism, wealth throughout their history. Chinese people, especially the wealthy ones that immigrate to the United States, value, strictness in their culture, educational attainment, the accomplishments of their children. When you look at, I'm going to say African Americans, because for black people in the United States, African immigrants are different than African Americans, the people that came from slaves. When you look at African Americans and their place in the United States, it feels like they weren't allowed to have that same history. And I know that's not satisfying for like an excuse used today, but I feel like there's a difference when like a white person can say, my granddaddy did this, he started this farm, he had this business. A Chinese person could say, my family immigrated from Beijing, we did this, et cetera, et cetera. But for black people, I don't even know what country my family came from because we came over on slave ships 200, 300 years ago. I feel like and so then when you look at like Jewish people fighting in business, white people fighting in, finance, Chinese people fighting for education, black people had, levers on culture, gang wars or drug trades or rap music. These are the only ways that black people were allowed to rise up and compete in the United States. For like a white kid like me, I never thought like, do I need to sell drugs to be something? No, because I'm a white kid. I went to a prep school. My path was towards college. But for a black person growing up in the ghetto, it's like, well, what is your area to compete in? How can you be a man? How can you prove your worth to somebody? You're probably not going to be working on Wall Street. So the only options available to you are, things like violence, things like drugs, or if you're, really talented, being a good writer, being a rapper or something. And I think that's kind of where a lot of the culture of the black community shifted. I don't think it's because of any intrinsic aspect of being African American or being black, but because that's kind of the historical lot they were given in the United States. I feel like that would be the explanation for why black people value the things they do culturally in the United States. Yeah, go for it.
Okay. That's funny you talk about this because here's the cold reality. And I talk to my friend about this all the time. He's an African guy. He came over here, some years ago. And so here's the cold reality. So let me ask you real quick.
Yeah.
The most successful black people on earth are involved in what?
Entertainment.
Exactly. So I don't know. I look at things in a very I'm when it comes to, I'm not going to say conspiracy, but I'm the type of person that believes there's different realms, multiverses and things like that, multiverses, whatever you want to say. So I feel like in this multiverse, blacks, this is just where we're at. There's probably another multiverse where blacks are on top. But as far as like how you become a black person of importance, in this timeline, it must be involved with entertainment. Everybody has the blueprint has already been laid. You want to be known, you want to be important in society, you must do entertainment. Entertainment is in the form of being a professional athlete, being involved with the media, being an actor. You have to be involved with entertainment. If I'm a black engineer and I have a white girlfriend, right? And I go to meet her parents, the first thing they're gonna do off tops is judge me based off of my exterior. They're gonna be like, oh wait, you're a 6'5" engineer? Oh wow, you never played ball? But if it was any other ethnicity that she brings over that happens to be a 6'5" engineer that's not black, that's gonna be good enough. There's almost like there's a barrier and there's a bar set for blacks to be super successful because anybody that's known or anybody that's on the highest level of life right now that are billionaires is involved in entertainment. Name me one black billionaire that's not involved in entertainment. The only way black people can literally succeed on a crazy level to the point where society even gives two flying fucks about us is entertainment. That's just the way it's written. Maybe if, let's just say this, maybe if black people were the first people with ships and guns that said, fuck it, we're gonna sail the seas and conquer everything, the world will be flipped upside down. But since we weren't, this is just the way the shit is written. So instead of complaining about, oh, this white privilege, oh my God, like pandering, why don't we just say fuck it and fix it ourselves? Why are we sitting here trying to make excuses? Look, you've seen a million people do it. You really want to get money in life, do entertainment. Right now, I don't have nothing to worry about. Why? Because I escaped simulation. I said, fuck it. I'm going to tackle entertainment. And this is why I'm in the best form of life that I'm in right now, is because I understand what it takes to be successful in America. As a black person, I got to get in entertainment. So instead of, oh my God, slavery so many years ago. Okay, now what? Oh, what? You're gonna complain and you still got bills due tomorrow. You're gonna complain, you still got to go to work tomorrow. So at the end of the day, I mean, why complain about equality when everybody you're talking about that's racist has the doors wide fucking open for you to literally become a millionaire? Kanye West, people are siding with Kanye West real quick. People are siding with Kanye West. Yeah, you got to remember, you could side with Kanye West, but you're still broke. If you're black and you're siding with Kanye West, you're broke.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, like I said, like when it comes to personal advice, like I'm the most right-leaning person in the world. Like no one's going to help you except for yourself. Nobody gives a fuck about you except for you. Like you're always in the best position to improve yourself. Don't wait for the government. Don't wait for some community. Don't wait for somebody else to help you. You got to handle your shit on your own. I guess the only frustration comes is when, and I don't know if you do this because I haven't watched enough of your like commentary on like racial related stuff. I think the only issues that come are when people start to make judgments on other communities, where it's like, okay, if you think that black people need to do what they need to do on their own to rise up or whatever, that's cool, I can buy that. But when people start saying like, well, the reason why black people haven't risen up and overcome is because they're lazy. It's because they're worthless. It's because they have worship hip hop culture. They put devils in their music. They don't like do anything to improve themselves. They just blame white people, whatever. And while there might be elements of truth to this, that maybe the externalization of problems on other communities is bad for the black community, I think there's still like I feel like there's a justified anger there when people are like, okay, like, yeah, you know, for 250 odd years in the United States, your lot has been fucked, but now it's time to get over it in, 1.5 generations, essentially. I'm empathetic towards that frustration, I guess. But I mean, like you said, you can't use it as an excuse to be fucked forever, right? Like people say, Jim Crow is, 60 years ago. Well, in 20 years, are they going to say we're over Jim Crow? Or are they going to say, well, Jim Crow was only 80 years ago? And in 40 years, are we going to say, okay, now we're over Jim Crow? Or are they going to say, no, Jim Crow was 100 years ago, because people still bring up slavery as examples of why people are where they are today. And it's like, well, is that going to play out indefinitely? Or is that ever going to be a thing that people are over, Yeah,
I just kind of had this conversation, I think it was last week, where I said regardless of how I feel, I still am black, so I know how black people feel that are still feeling oppressed to a sense. I get it. I went into Neiman Marcus, it's a store of designer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Last winter, right? I go in there and, if I wanted to buy something, I could. But I think that I went into the store, right? And I just felt like this energy of, damn, like, I think these motherfuckers think that I'm going to steal, but it's almost hilarious. And I think, like, that cloud of judgment is kind of what angers black people. But at the same time, there has to be some sort of, there has to be a time in this period, or I don't know when it's going to happen, where we gotta just watch what we do. If I go on World Star Hip Hop right now, I'm going to see a bunch of fuckery. Instead of us recording racism 24/7, recording us fighting, recording this, recording that, we should collectively be trying to internally fix ourselves to the point where we're taken serious. I feel like we're taken as a joke in America. Like, yeah, we could get money through hip hop and shit like that, but at the same time, it's still fuckery. As soon as I turn on a rap video right now, the first thing I'm going to see is a bust down watch, aka a watch full of diamonds in it. Like, that's not artistry, which is why the only people I pay attention to are people that don't do that. Like, I guess Drake is flossing now, but at first he wasn't about doing that. Like, do we really have to accept the fact that Black culture is based off materialism? Because let me ask you this. I don't know if you've seen the riots in 2020.
Yeah.
Did you see any of the video footage?
Yeah, yeah, obviously. Yeah, a lot of political stuff, yeah.
Okay. So when there were the riots, right? What was the first thing Black people went for in the riots?
Like when break-ins and stuff was happening, it wasn't groceries. If that's what you're getting at.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What did I see? So, we were quote unquote marching or upset about what happened with George Floyd. Yet, I think that was, if there was one key point in society where we could have showed people we really meant business and it wasn't about materialism, we wouldn't have broken into Dior. We wouldn't have been breaking into Icebox, stealing bust downs, going on, go on YouTube and Instagram. Yeah, I got bust downs, baby. We would have said, you know what? We're going to let everybody else fuck up and show everybody that this is a bigger meaning versus designer and what Gucci bags I can get for free and what Louis Vuitton. Now, here's my solution. And I said this before, a lot of Black people are going to be mad at me. A lot of Black people are mad at me in your chat, I see. So I feel like since Black people, we love material so much. We love Gucci, we love Prada, we love bust downs, we love jewelry. That's the first thing we do when we get money. Instead of franchising a McDonald's or trying to open up a Chick-fil-A or open up some basketball gyms or, create foundation in a business, we want to go buy bust down APs and jewelry. So here's what we do. So, Blacks were crying about reparations. Why don't here's what America should do. You want to fix Blacks, just give us free Gucci at the end of the month. I think that'll be good enough for most. You want to stop crime? Just pull up, you know what? Yeah, I came to redeem my Gucci this month. Because clearly that's all we care about is material. I think it's all about, since, and even you said, Black culture is, you didn't really say that, but you indicated that Black culture is a part of hip hop. So if Black culture is a part of hip hop and what we praise is materialistic things, I guess all Black people want in America is materialistic fucking things. Because as soon as we get the money, that's all we care about. I don't see Jeff Bezos showing a fucking AP. If you catch him with it on, you catch him. I never seen Will Smith, excuse me. Will Smith is Black, but he's a different style. I never seen Will Smith showing a watch, or I don't even know what Will Smith drives. But the majority of Blacks, all we care about, and some people are even pissed off the way I'm saying Black. The majority of Black people only care about materialism, yet want to cry why we can't get to the upper echelon of life. It's all about materialistic items. So instead of us trying to fix it, I mean, do you just, for reparations, do you give us all a Rolex? Or I really don't know. I think it's an unfixable thing. I think the African American community, and I'm saying African Americans because Black people in America we're the most emulated, but at the same time we're the most stupid. I just think all we want is material at the end of the day. Just give us Gucci. I think we'll be fine.
Do you think that it's fair that I'm trying to represent the other side as much as possible, not that I necessarily agree or disagree. Yeah. So I guess when you talk about like Black people are materialistic, it feels like when you think of like a lot of the successful political people or like racial or political dynasties, you think of like the Clintons or the Kennedys, or you think of like long, lines of like Jewish families or even white families that have a huge history of, farming businesses in America, that there are a lot of white people that are materialistic, right? We can go to any trailer park and find poor white people that are, drinking, fucking their sisters, missing teeth. We can go to white people that live in, certain cities that commit a lot of crime. We can find these white people. But when we think of like who white people are, it feels like we judge them a little bit by their best. You know, we think of white people as like the colonialists, the kings and the queens of Europe, you know, whatever history we've got, the conquerors, the business owners. We think of Jewish people. We think of Jewish people at their best. We think of the white Jewish people at their best, because there are non-white Jewish people. But we think of like the Ashkenazi or whatever the fuck Jews that are, you know, running banks, businesses, media, whatever. And when we think of Asian people, we think of like them at their best. It feels like the people that we think of at their best have, like, oftentimes in a lot of these racial communities have a long history or lineage of kind of like wealth, richness, family, culture that have kind of driven them to that position. And then when you look at, again, and I'm being very particular, I say African Americans, the descendants of slaves in the United States, they didn't have a chance to build historically those same types of families. And even when they were on the cusp of it, you know, with things like Tulsa, Black Wall Street, you had race riots there that destroyed more black wealth than has ever been destroyed in all of American history. And then you've got things like the 2007 collapse of the housing markets. That hurt everybody around the world. It hurt everybody around in the United States, but it destroyed black families and black home ownership. That you didn't, like, I don't know if black wealth ever recovered from 2007. I know 10 years later it hadn't. 15 years later, I don't know if it has yet. I haven't looked at those numbers, but they were absolutely destroyed. When you've got black people that are finally starting to make money, you know, when a white guy makes money, you don't have to think as much about supporting your family, your communities as much. It's not even a question. I don't ever have to think about giving back to the white community. Chinese people don't have to think about giving back to Chinese. You know, you might help your own friends or whatever, your own kind or whatever, but it's not. It's a different kind of ask than when you make it as a black person. Some people would criticize people like you who say, you know, like, black culture is trash, and look at these black people that, you know, are chimping out on TV and they're rioting and they're looting and they're stealing shoes and Nikes and all that's all they care about. But then, like, I feel like some black people respond as like, well, yeah, this is like, in a way, like the white man's tactics. You know, you destroy our history, you bring us over as slaves, and then you put us in scenarios where we can't succeed, and then every single day our worst is on TV. You are judging all of us by the worst examples of what we have. And then when we take the little bit of society that we've carved out in the most successful way possible with things like hip hop and rap, which is, like, as you said, it's the most emulated culture in the world, that even that gets attacked by some black people or people in the white media, where they say, oh, well, this culture is bad and nasty and horrible and disgusting. And it's like, this is all we have. We didn't have the chance to build anything else like white people, Jewish people, Asian people, even Hispanic people in the United States. Yeah, go for it. Go.
True. So if black people are saying that hip hop culture is the only thing that we have, why does it have to be based on murder in the same community that we're trying to build? That's my thing. I used to listen to rap all the time, growing up and everything like that, because I had identity issues growing up. I didn't know if I wanted to be a pretty boy. I didn't know if I wanted to be a fake ass thug. I was never raised like this. I was always the quiet kid. But if that's the foundation of American, I repeat this, American black culture, why aren't we trying to put it on the highest of pedestals, to the point where it's not about the glorification of murder in the community, or it's not so much based on materialism? Because there are artists that came out of the woodwork that kind of set the ground for a different level of hip hop. I mean, look at people like Kanye West, look at Drake. They weren't known for
being gangsters and shit.
Yeah, exactly. So there's ways that we can do it to where it's not glorified on such a level to where it's about killing and materialism. So, I mean, there's ways to tackle it, but the thing is, do we want to? Because I'm always seeing a new rapper that, okay, Kendrick Lamar, somebody said in my chat, I'm always seeing a new rapper come out, but it's rare that I see a rapper of so much talent where it's not ops, it's not spin the block, it's not look at my bust down, it's not my jewelry. And, you know, black people, we love to emulate shit, right? So, you know, when Lil Wayne started wearing skinny jeans, I remember I was obsessed with Lil Wayne growing up. Like, I'm like, man, damn, my jeans are too baggy. I gotta fucking put on jeans like Lil Wayne. My jeans gotta get skinny like Lil Wayne. So if we emulate what rappers do, since hip hop culture is the most emulated culture, and in the black community, that's probably the most emulated people are rappers. I mean, I feel like they're in charge. But I feel like the black community is, well, it's based off of, well, I got mine, you get yours. You know, there was a person that's a popular actor. Acting is something I have passion for. I believe that it's the most beautiful form of artistry and the hardest form of artistry when it comes to entertainment. So what's his name? Isaiah Washington. So I had, this is back when the show The 100 was on TV. So I tweeted at him and I said, man, I would love to be in your position. And he just said, man, hit the casting office. The fuck is a casting office? Now, when you're trying to get into acting, it's more than just hit the fucking hit the casting office. It's like there's no pipeline. So I'm not asking for a handout because that's not even how I got in this position. But it's just like, damn, that's all you gotta say. Like, I'm not expecting you to say more, but it's like, if that was somebody else, okay, what does hit the casting office mean? So for me, I don't like the fact that the most influential form of, if you want to call it black culture, that is hip hop, I don't like that that's the most emulated. It's cool to be Lil Durk. It's not cool to be Will Smith. I've never heard a kid growing up, I've never heard a kid want to be Denzel, Will Smith, Lenny Kravitz, none of those guys. Oh, I want to be like Maxwell.
Morgan Freeman or stuff like this, yeah.
Exactly. Even myself, you know, like, it's all about hip hop. Like, I wanted to fucking, you know, be like 50 Cent and Nelly wearing, you know, looking stupid with a hat and a do-rag on. Like, that's what I wanted to emulate myself as a young kid. So I get it. But as you get older, it's like, okay, what's next? Like, how do we set the bar as American blacks, I would say? I don't think, you know, well, I can't really speak for other, you know, types and styles of black as far as their culture goes on that kind of level. But I know people that are African, and what he tells me is that a lot of people in Africa like to emulate, but they also know what not to do at the same time. I feel like it's a revolving door that can't be fixed at this point.
What do you think? So what is these are also, all these questions I'm asking you, these are hard questions. Obviously, I don't expect you to have an answer. Nobody has an answer. These are really complicated topics. When black culture is kind of mired in like a lot of the stuff that comes out culturally is kind of a reflection of where you've come from. And when you've got this history in the United States of black people being a certain thing, being treated a certain way, being put in certain positions, and then you see things like, you know, like you ask, like, why is music the way that it is? And a lot of it is a response to, you know, the culture that people were raised in, right? Like NWA didn't write "fuck the police" because, you know, cops were super chill with black people. You know, they wrote it for a specific reason. And a lot of the reactions to society that were in rap music came from the way specifically white culture and white police in a racist manner treated black people. When you have that history and that perspective and that like kind of existence in a country, well, I guess, what do you think is the way out of that? Yeah, do you think it's a matter of just telling black people, like, you know, get your shit together and whatever, or do you not worry about it because it's like, it's not my job to fix everybody? Like, yeah, what do you see as like the path forward for something like that, you know?
Oh, all right, you mentioned NWA. So, you know, the main guy that's known out of NWA is Ice Cube.
Yeah,
so,
Jesus.
the most, and it's funny you laugh because you're imagining this version of Ice Cube. You see how we could always change who we were and evolve into something better. So we're looking at somebody who came from somebody saying, fuck the police, being, you know, real against policing in America, to writing family movies, to classic movies, to being worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Not because he stayed in a gangster mentality, but because he evolved and graduated from that stupid ass mentality. And he came from the hood, right? He came from the hood, but he realized as he began to grow as a person, you know what? There's more than just being angry. You know what? I've been fortunate enough to make this kind of money. Let me tap into a different genre. Let me start creating family movies. I started off with Friday, but that's not good enough. I really want to break the barrier. And, you know, I want to do Are We There Yet? I want to produce this. I want to produce that. Who the fuck would have thought that Ice Cube, even though the movie sucked complete ass, who would have thought Ice Cube would have played in a version of Triple X? Like, you could have never told me watching Friday as a kid one day Ice Cube was going to be in Triple X. And here's the thing. What did the black community do to Ice Cube when he didn't go with the grain? They scorned him. You know, he spoke on Trump, instantly scorned. Black people have literally no reason to hate Trump. If Trump was actually instilled in black communities ever since the Fresh Prince days. He's, I mean, he was on Fresh Prince. He's on plenty of black sitcoms. Everybody loved Trump. You know, every black person loved Trump. As soon as he got in office, one black person said, fuck Trump. Now it's fuck Trump. Why? I mean, Trump never did anything. So it's like, we're so easily ready to fight other people's battles and listen to what, you know, top black entertainers say. We don't have time to think about it ourselves. So Ice Cube is a good example. You brought up NWA. It's an excellent example. There's the blueprint. It's called Evolve. You don't have to be hood forever.
Well, damn, I didn't necessarily have you here to grill you on like fucking all the hardest issues of the black community. Is there anything else? Yeah, is there anything you want to chat about or anything on your mind, I guess, or did you have any ideas in mind for the conversation or whatever? There's gonna be a ton of black people that email me that are gonna be super mad that for shit you said, but I mean, like I'm empathetic towards where you're at, and then like I've had like when I grew up. Like my experience with black people growing up is I grew up in part of the Midwest, and my black friends growing up were from very religious, very disciplined families. Like if I got caught with like a rap CD, my parents would be like, "Why are you listening to this?" If they got caught with a rap CD, they would get their ass whipped. They're like those like black families were so incredibly strict when it came to making sure they went to school, they weren't fucking around, they weren't listening to dumb shit. So it's been interesting seeing that, and then kind of growing up and getting out into the world and seeing like different black communities and how they deal with different things. And I mean, it's all like so complicated, like trying to figure out, you know, like what's the right answer for, you know, black people? Why are they where they are? Who holds the accountability for it? Who should be blamed? You know, what are the correct actions? Yeah, all of that is insanely complicated. And, you know, I just talk around it sometimes, but I don't know what the solution is to any of it, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was raised to a point where I wasn't even allowed to watch The Simpsons. It's like, I remember watching The Simpsons. I feel like an impact on my ass. And I'm just like, what the hell? And I jump back and my mom's beating me with a 40-hole paddle because I was watching The Simpsons. So one of the main things that I was taught growing up, I grew up a portion in LA, like South Central. So I was always taught to be different. I was always taught to not be a follower. Maybe that's why I developed this type of attitude about myself, where I refuse to just get with the program. Just because we're the same skin color, we got the same background, doesn't mean I gotta agree with you. And I think that's something that you know, I think that's something that's really frowned upon in the black community. If you're not with us, you're against us. And it shouldn't be like that. It should be, okay, well, I hear your point, but you know, I'm not gonna scorn you for it. So I see what it is. And when you say you were, you know, if you got caught with a rap CD, it was a problem. I mean, for me, if I got caught watching The Simpsons, it was a problem. If I said eat my shorts to my mom, it was it was a fucking problem. I had a question for you.
Yeah,
We've talked about black. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me ask you, how do you feel about the manosphere community?
Well, the first problem is you have to define what it is, because like every time you start to say I don't like this or that, they're always like, oh no, that's not us, we don't do that, or that's like everybody's got a different definition of what manosphere means. Do you want to define it more specifically, or do you want me to just kind of like talk around my general feelings on it, or yeah, how do you want to?
Well, I want your general feelings on it.
So in the broadest sense, I have no idea where you stand on this, so maybe I'll piss you off. We'll see. In the broadest sense, I feel like the manosphere does some good, and that one, they acknowledge a lot of like true problems that people on the left won't acknowledge when it comes to young men or when it comes to dating dynamics. There's a lot of things that people on the left just don't want to talk about, and they kind of bury their head in the sand, and they just, you know, they don't want to hear any of these types of issues. So I think they do a good job at kind of like talking to people that don't have anybody else to talk to them in media. But then on the other end, there's a lot of stuff from some of the newer manosphere people that I kind of disagree with. Like I don't want to use the word misogyny, but I'm going to say that like the approach to relationships and women sometimes, like this obsession with one-sided open relationships, in my opinion, is like really cringe. And I really don't like, I'm a super atheist now, but I grew up Catholic. I really don't like the way a lot of these manosphere guys throw around religion as kind of like this cool aesthetic when it's pretty obvious that they've never picked up a Bible, they've never picked up a Quran, they don't know anything about the religious shit they're teaching. They're just kind of like, it's almost like in Catholic school, one of the biggest no-nos we learned is you're not supposed to wear a rosary as a necklace. That's bad. You're not supposed to do that. But these guys wear religion like an aesthetic and they don't know anything about it, and that drives me fucking crazy. So yeah, I would say in general, like it's good. The ones that talk about, like, you've got some guys that are like, listen, if you want to get girls, you need to clean your shit up, you need to take responsibility for your life, hit the gym, do what you can to improve your situation, and, you know, girls will come to you. That type of message I think is like pretty positive. But when people start talking about like the hardcore relationship dynamics, like all women are shallow, cock carousel seeking sluts that are trying to do this or that, I'm like, okay, well, this is kind of cringe now. That's like broadly speaking where I'm at, and then it'll depend on how I feel based on who specifically we're talking about.
Okay, I mean, that makes sense. That's you know, and I feel like the manosphere situation is a broad spectrum that could be covered. So the manosphere for me is, I don't know if we can, let me ask you this, can we combine, well, actually no, because red pill is something that's more than just this and that. All right, so the manosphere community, I feel like, is under attack as we know it. It's under attack because it's an unrealistic approach. It's an unrealistic approach to life. Just because one guy has success, quote unquote Andrew Tate, right? Andrew Tate blasted on the platforms, telling men to do this, do that. You should only operate this way. You should only operate that way, this and that. I feel like it really sets up guys to kind of bite off more than they can chew. Andrew Tate was able to say those type of things or have those types of ideologies because he was rich. If you're working at Amazon or Walmart, you can't tell a girl, you know what? I'm gonna fuck you. I'm gonna fuck Becky. I'm gonna fuck Sarah, and there's nothing you're gonna do about it. So I feel like, you know, the manosphere community, especially part of it, what I've seen is, you know, let's fly to Brazil, let's fuck foreign chicks, let's bring them home, and let's have a haram. And I feel like that's an unrealistic approach. And a lot of the shit in the red pill community is also a unrealistic approach when it comes to the everyday lifestyle of a guy growing up in America that's trying to succeed.
Yeah, I 1,000,000% agree. I think this is one of the big topics when I was on Fresh and Fit that I was arguing with them about, is that like you guys are talking about like one-sided open relationships and juggling like six girls at once. Like, you guys can do this because you've got a ton of clout, you've got a ton of fame, like you got a lot of money, you got a lot of social status. Of course you can do this. And even they admit, like when you push one, it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't going to work for 99% of our audience. And it's like, okay, well then why the fuck are you talking about this, right? Like, you might as well be telling everybody to buy a lottery ticket because 1% of your audience is going to get rich on it. Like, this advice is worthless. Like, most guys are never going to be able to juggle fucking 2 girls at once, let alone like 5 or 6. And here you're giving advice on like how to maintain like a fucking harem of women. Like, this is just totally unrealistic. And then kind of like what you said, I think the most damaging part of that is that men are going to go into these like communities, they're going to try to like flex these pickup artist skills or whatever that are where they might have some of the charm and maybe some of the pickup lines, but they don't have the wealth or the status to back it up. And then they're going to flunk out of it, and they're just going to leave like more pissed off than how they even entered in the first place.
And 100% correct. So if you look at the guys who practice, I'm not going to say practice, but let's just say this, have gotten away with doing crazy things that a regular guy couldn't get away with. Let's use a couple of people, for example. Dwayne Wade, married, you know, has sex with a random chick, has a baby while he's married. Yeah. Ludacris did the same thing. You know, if I'm a guy and I'm working a fucking 9 to 5 and I'm married and I go have a baby outside of wedlock and I'm not rich, that's, you get what I'm saying? Like,
your life is over.
Exactly.
And then it sucks because now you've got like on one end, you've got like some people saying this, and on the other end, you've got like Ben Shapiro that I don't like. I'm a left-leaning person, but Ben Shapiro said like one of the most important things is like not have a kid before you are ready or whatever. And it's like Ben Shapiro is giving better advice now on terms of like relationships and families than like red pill people who specialize in talking about relationships. That's like really fucking weird. Yeah, I agree.
And as far as that, bouncing over into the red pill, do you think red pill content?
Your mic cut off
on
for a
social
second.
media platforms?
You
Is
said-
it dead on TikTok? Is it dead on YouTube? Is it dead in general?
Wait, sorry, your mic cut out in the middle of that. Do I think that red pill content is what?
Is it eradicated?
I mean, it seems like they're trying to crack down on it now, but like, the reason why I don't like deplatforming in general is because I feel like it's important to destroy the idea. Like, there are some things about red pill that I really don't like, and I want to talk about that and tell people why I think it's dumb. I don't want to just ban all the people talking about it, because when you do, there's like, no offense to Andrew Tate, but he's not like the most unique person. Like, there's going to be another Andrew Tate that pops up, gets popular, and then gets banned. Like, they're going to keep popping up and, you know, coming and going. And I feel like it's kind of like the Donald Trump stuff, to where people thought that, you know, because we'd banned all the crazy conservatives off the internet, when Trump came around, there's no way that he can win because nobody thinks like that. And then all of a sudden he wins, and it's like, wait a second, what? Where the fuck are all these people coming from? And it's like, well, they were always there. You know, you just banned a couple of them, so you thought they disappeared completely, but that's not the case. So, yeah, I mean, like right now, red pill content is obviously like pretty fucked online, because a lot of the main people are getting banned, but I think the ideas are still there. I think people still, you know, believe in some of it. And yeah, I'm not in favor of the whole like just keep banning the people and hope that the ideas go away, because it doesn't seem to work.
Yeah, I feel like it is 100% dead for the simple fact that this is the timeline that we live in, where women are actually, I would say women are more in control than ever. I mean, if you really go back to the start of history, secretly, women have always been in control. I don't know, well, you said you're an atheist, but if I could use one form of religion as the truest origin of humanity, would be Christianity. So if we take that back to the Adam and Eve, right? So women have always been in control. We've seen titties, we've seen ass, we felt vagina, we bit the apple. And right now, what's going on, the reason why red pill content, I believe, is dead too, is because now women are allowed to be more expressive. You know, some years ago, every woman's idol was Mariah Carey. We fast forward, the women in power now, they do music or anything like that, which is still one of the most emulated ways to get the message across is music. Who's on top? You know, every chick's preaching promiscuity. Cardi B, I don't know if Kim Kardashian preaches it, but she definitely practiced it. Megan Thee Stallion, so on and so forth. So now you can actually, a woman can actually, oh, you call a woman, you know, the B word now. She's like, so what? I am. You call a woman a hoe. She's like, and? So I feel like women have always secretly had the upper hand when it came to mental, but not when it came to physical. This is why you can't get away with red pill content anymore. It's too many. It's a lot of women in power, and I think women are finally realizing how much of a mental stronghold they have over men, just based off seduction alone. Women were created to be a seductive species. If you look at it, men are ugly.
Gotcha.
Women, just look at the archetype of a woman: beautiful skin, chiseled jawline. Well, some of them, breast, hips. What scientist, engineer thought, you know what? I'm gonna make men. And you know what? Oh, fuck it. Man is boring. I'm going to keep the nipples on the man. They're useless because I really didn't know what I want to make. Now I'm going to create women. I'm going to create the second prototype that's much better, less stronger. So to tap over to this, you said that you're an atheist. What does that mean to you? I really want to ask you about that.
I don't really believe in any kind of God, dude. He might be out there, but if he is, I don't know if I can know anything about him.
Okay, so your form of an atheist is there's no actual God.
Or if there is, it doesn't seem like we can get any good information about him.
Okay, I get where you're coming from. So, would you agree that that the human body is pure science?
Like physical or material? Kind of. It seems like it, but I guess there's kind of like that. We have some conscious experience. It's really hard to explain right now with our current understanding of science, but yeah, I lean towards everything being pretty material, yeah.
So, let's just say this. When you look at anatomy, right? What do you see? I'm asking you this because you said you're an atheist. So this is the first time I've ever been able to speak to an atheist.
What do I see? Like a collection of organs, tissues, like, I mean, yeah, what specifically? Some type of organization or design? Is that kind of what you're getting at, or?
Yeah, so with you being an atheist, how has that all been put together?
So, if I were to walk into a backyard and I were to pour cement and I were to dig the most exquisite hole in the universe, okay, of incredible complexity, and then it were to rain, there would be a puddle that would form inside of that hole, and it would be it would match exactly what was carved out in the little tunnel system or whatever I'd made in the backyard. And I think it's when we look at it that way, when we would see how the water would fill the hole that I've made, I don't think anybody would say, why is the water exactly the shape of the hole? Like, why would it be that way? I think that people would say is like, well, it couldn't have been any other way. Like, it fits the hole. So when I look at like human biology and I look at how humans exist in the world, it seems to imply like a big level of design. Like, our systems are incredibly complicated. But it could also be that just over thousands of generations of evolution, there's really no other way that humans could have been. Like, we probably could have never had like 7 arms and 7 legs because we don't have enough energy to run it. Or maybe we needed this socialization so that we would help each other in the forest and not get eaten by lions and tigers. Or our brains needed to be a certain size. That's kind of how I view it. I think that the argument from design only works if you try to ask the question of like, why does the puddle fit the hole, instead of thinking of it as like, well, the puddle could have only been one way because it has to fit the hole, where the hole is like planet Earth and then the puddle is who we are as humans.
So you would say that you think it's easier to debate actual science versus speculation?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's interesting things to speculate on. If I look at like a good thing about religion, one of the good things about religion is like the greater sense of purpose and everything that we get in life, because I think secular people have done a really dog shit job at like giving us like purpose and meaning. It can feel pretty empty or hollow if you just look at human existence as like a giant clump of cells wandering the earth, fulfilling our basic desires. So religion does a good job there, but I get a little bit scared when people take the theology a little too seriously and start to make crazy, prescriptions about the world, saying that like, well, God said this, so we need to do that, or God, Muhammad said this, so I need to fly this plane into this building, or the person said this, and I need to do this particular crazy thing.
I mean, I feel like as far as religion, I grew up in a Christian church, but at 7 years old, I realized that it was a business.
Mm-hmm.
It was about business and control. I've always wondered, I even questioned my mom when I'm like a 7-year-old, like, why do we have to put money in the plate? Mm-hmm. She's like, just do it. But, the more you break down church, there is no human being on earth who can channel the word of the creator, AKA the engineer. I'm going to say engineer, and make me believe that whatever they're telling me is coming from the words of the engineer. And the reason why I say engineer is because when you really think about the human body, and I'm saying this because I've always wanted to kind of get inside of an atheist's head. Mm-hmm. When you think about the human body, it's literally a design of a design of art. It's organic engineering in its best. Your knee joints, like none of this is Big Bang Theory. So to be an atheist, I'm trying to figure out, we're having this conversation, our vocal cords work. So you think that happened? You think that happened by rain dropping in a puddle and some cells forming, and we just grow into men that can actually, ejaculate and reproduce, and women can bear children? That doesn't sound like science to you?
I mean, we can look at the things that work, but there's also things that don't work too, right? Like, why do we have appendixes? Like, we're still trying to figure out like what we even use that for. Or you can tell like the way that our eyes evolved, that things kind of worked backwards, because have you ever seen like if you cover one eye and you move a finger in and out, you've got a blind spot in both of your eyes. It's where like the bundle of nerves tucks through and goes to the back. Like, that's just a straight out design flaw. There's no purpose for that. It's just because of the way that our eyes evolved. You can find some like aspects of human physiology that are kind of flawed, but I mean, like, obviously there's a lot that works, but I mean, it kind of has to, right? Like, if we didn't work, we would have died out. What we have right now is what worked to get us this far. It couldn't have been an inefficient or horrible model, because that wouldn't have made it to where we're at now, right?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the word flaw. So human beings are nothing but a flaw. I mean, if I could be killed with a paper cut, clearly this prototype is trash. Mm-hmm. So I look at when I look at atheism, I've always just I've like dated an atheist too, and I would always ask her like, so how do you think we're having sex right now? Like, how is blood able to travel, to that piece of me and do anything with you if there's no science? But we never could come up to a conclusion. So I've always just wanted to ask someone who didn't believe in science. Like, you don't got to believe in God, but science, I feel like, should kind of maybe shut off or open up the eyes of an atheist itself.
Yeah, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I just
Yeah, I'm not here to change him on.
Yeah.
I just always wanted to ask a couple of questions.
Sure.
Also seeing that there was some stuff people were saying that that Abba was saying in the chat. I was curious to see what he was actually talking about.
I mean, if you ever want to chat with him, I can always just drag him on.
Yeah, I mean, he's African, so I would always want to see what his thoughts would be. I know he's African and lives in in Canada, excuse me, I said Canadian.
Yeah.
But he lives in Canada and he's African. So I would always want to see what he thinks about a lot of my, problems or thoughts about the Black community in itself. So if there's ever a time we can get him on, I would love to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, sure. I shot him a message. I don't know if he's free now or not, but here's a question, actually, going back a little bit. How did you get into fighting games?
How did I get into fighting games? I've been playing fighting games since single digits, since I was a kid. So, my mom, she always had boyfriends that played video games. So one of them left Street Fighter, Street Fighter Alpha. So I'm playing the game. And I've always been really competitive, but I was always too shy to be competitive outside the house at a particular age. So he left the game over, and I just remember like getting migraines and headaches from playing the computer, and that's where it started. I started playing Street Fighter when I was a kid, and it just developed into this. Like, I probably most likely wouldn't be talking to you right now if I never started playing fighting games. So it's crazy where that type of crap can actually take you.
Just so, and I understand maybe it just started so early that you didn't think about it, but does it ever bother you that in some ways you kind of like, to get a little more serious again, sorry, just to really rag on this, but so in some ways you try to be like, I want to do my own thing, I kind of want to be independent, I don't want to be viewed as like a Black creator, but then like you play fighting games, which is like traditionally, I was a StarCraft player, I know there's CSGO and stuff, people look at like fighting games as like, that's like the Black community, this is the game that Black people play, our fighting games, Street Fighter, stuff like that. Did you ever have any resentment towards like doing fighting games? Did you ever think like, fuck, I want to switch to like RTS or something? Or was it just like you grew up with it so early, you're like, fuck it, this is the style of game I play, I don't give a fuck?
That's what was in the neighborhoods. So when you go to like laundromats, there was never, there was like Gradius, I think in an arcade or one of those airplane games, right? There was those, but for some reason, I don't know why, but we always gravitated towards fighting games because that's what was in the arcade. There was Mortal Kombat in the arcade. There was Street Fighter and all these random fighting games. So I just think that's what was in the community. That's why we played it. That's what that's why most of us played it growing up.
Okay,
but
gotcha. Yeah.
I never played Madden. I'm like one of the only Black guys that don't play Madden.
Sure.
Like our cousins are playing Madden when I'm a kid. I'm like, where's Mario? So yeah, I never could get into Madden. 2K, so, but fighting games, that's always been my niche.
Gotcha,
As many people say I suck, yeah, I'm still gonna play them.
Do you ever try to do anything, I don't know, in terms of how much you stream, do you ever try to do anything competitive in fighting games anymore, or do you just kind of like play for fun as a way to pass the time, or?
Well, I mean, I know what people want to see, but as far as playing competitively, I haven't played competitively since 2018. I did the reality show. It was called
oh shit, I remember that. Fuck, I remember that from 4 years ago. Yeah
the Challenger. It was cool, but the reason why I can't compete if I wanted to is because I got banned from Capcom because I was a hothead. I don't know if you heard about that, but I made some remarks obviously I wouldn't make today, and I've just been having to pay for it ever since. In March that'll be 3 years. So there was a particular person I was playing. You got to remember, like, I'm like one of the most trolled and stolen from people on the internet. Like, just type in low tier god on YouTube one day and just start dragging shit down. It's a black hole. It's a rabbit hole. So what people do is they love to stream snake. So when I'm playing these games, I got a bunch of weirdos that their whole day is wrapped around me and when I'm gonna stream and play these fighting games. So I'm playing Street Fighter, which is the worst. Well, Street Fighter 5, the worst Street Fighter game to ever exist on this. It's ever existed. Street Fighter 5. Built a dog can do it. A fireball. That's how bad it is. So I'm playing Street Fighter 5 and I'm being stream sniped or whatever. And I match up with this person that I know. I'm not gonna say their name. That's a good classification. Their name. I'm not gonna say their name, right? So I match up with the person. And I've been playing fighting games long enough to know when I'm being trolled. So the guy kept doing the same move to me over and over again. Mind you, this is 2020. So I always evolve mentally. So I said some fucked up shit. The person happened to be trans.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I said, you're not even a real trans. I said, why don't you go actually get the operation? Why don't you get the dick split? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Probably one of the worst decisions I ever made. And I got banned from Capcom. I got banned from every, global tournament fighting game wise you could think of when it comes to Street Fighter. So, yeah, if I could like take back anything, that would be one of the things, because even if I don't like to compete the way I used to, I would at least like to show up.
Yeah, tournaments and shit, to hang out with people and everything,
exactly. To be a wild factor, and people love it when I hop on stream, no matter how bad they might say I, quote unquote suck. People love to see low tier guy compete.
Yeah, of course.
So so yeah, I mean Street Fighter 6 is coming out. I would love to get the chance to compete again, but I think at least I got to come out with an apology video and show some sort of growth.
Gotcha. I had I was a StarCraft 2 semi-pro, super ladder hero, really. Yeah, I get people that would snipe me and troll and shit. And there was one kid that did some fucking super trolly bullshit build, and I like fucking lost it, and I started, you type shit or whatever, and the kid, he ended up typing it. I was playing on the North American server, and he ended up typing in GG, but he used like on the keyboard in the Korean language, it would come out a different way. And when he did that, I thought it was just some white dude like faking being Korean or whatever. And I said like, okay, good job, you fucking. And I called him a G word for racial slur for Asian people. Yeah, but he was actually Asian. He made a fucking post about it. I was like, oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah, dumb shit. Yeah, I mean, yeah, but you go. Obviously, I'd never say anything like that today. But yeah, no, I know the feeling of like, so you're getting stream sniped and you see some dumb shit and you're like, fuck you, dude. And you want to go hard. Yeah.
I mean, I've been banned on damn near anything you could think of besides YouTube. And on on Twitter, I think I lost my Twitter maybe a couple of months ago because I got this collection of weirdos. There's actually a Discord that is made to stalk me online and social media, to troll me, just a bunch of men that are horny and sexless, I guess. But so I think what these guys did, how I lost the Twitter, is anytime I replied, because that's what I would do on Twitter. I still kind of do it, but I toned it down. I would say slick shit on the timeline and reply to people with saying slick shit. So the account got lost because it said I was using the account to what did it say? I was using the account to spread hate or using the account to cause abuse. So they just mass reported it. So I lost the Twitter. I've been banned on Twitch multiple times. The most recent time I lost the Twitch, I gifted a popular streamer 20 gifteds, and then randomly the next day it said my account was hit for fraud. Like, I've had the account since 2014. So Twitch, Twitter, shit, what else is out there? Okay, I haven't lost my Instagram. So basically Twitch and Twitter and whatever else I could think of. So I heard you've been actually banned on shit too.
Yeah, my Twitch is currently banned. My Twitter is perma-banned. Yeah, it is what it is. But
yeah.
Have you tried appealing your Twitter ban?
I did, but no hit back. Gotcha. They got it for quote unquote abuse for telling chicks, weave this, weave that, so corny. I say dumb shit, but the way social media works is if you mass report it enough,
you're gonna get hit for something, basically. Yeah,
exactly. It's a bot system. So
yeah, that's the scary thing about like YouTube and shit, is that like if somebody goes through and matters, like we've taken down so many videos and shit. Every single video on my YouTube channel has been manually reported, and I can tell because I get emails on all of them. We've manually reviewed this, and it's okay. Every time I piss somebody off, I always get like 10 of those emails like, oh, they're trying to spam report more shit. Yeah, it's insane. It's so stupid, and like you said, it's all like algorithm driven. Yeah, but
they tried it on YouTube with me. Because a lot of the shit that used to fly 4 years ago obviously doesn't fly. So a lot of my old videos, they were hitting them for like, hate speech and bullying. Like there's an infamous video I had before I was even low tier god. It was a boogie video I made.
I know.
You're laughing over there.
I know the video. Yeah, we watch it like every day for motivation. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So the origin of that video, for anybody that doesn't know, so before I did YouTube, my friend, he would send me this guy named Boogie every day. He would send me, and I'm watching him drink Mountain Dew and Doritos. I'm watching him splash in pools. And I said, man, if you keep sending me this guy, I'm going to make a fucking video. I'm going to come over your house. We're going to record it. I'm going to make a fucking video. So he kept sending me and taunting me with Boogie's content. So I said, fuck it. I said, get your camcorder ready. I'm ready to go. So I go over his house, and I just I sat at home before I went over there, and I wrote every fat clown I could think of. I just wrote literally a page full of shit that sounded fat and offensive. And so that's where that video came from. So after like so many years on the internet, it got flagged for harassment and bullying. That's why you don't see it anymore.
Gotcha.
That's why it's gone. Yeah, but that was before I was low tier god. I was just like, a tirade at that point in time.
Anything else?
Questions for you? I think we kind of covered it. I'm just glad I was able to finally get on here, considering the time difference.
If there's ever like a conversation that I'm either taking part in or you're taking part in, if you ever want my feedback or if you ever want to chat about something or ask me questions or have me grill you on something, yeah, you can always like shoot me a message or we can chat. It'd be interesting to talk.
Yeah, I'd love to chime in on some of your collection calls with some people and really kind of tap in and see what people think. I think that would be good.
Yeah, just let me know. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, hey, listen, I appreciate the conversation. It's cool to see that you've like changed over the. It's cool to see a lot of like the people that have survived on the internet for like 5 or 10 years to see like how things have kind of like changed over time. It's really interesting. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck, man.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one.
Yeah. You too. Damn. Low tier god, our childhood idol. Here you go. Erudite wanted to chat about something. I didn't catch the end of her Sneeko talk or any of her Sneeko talk. Oh my god, look at these redesigned core miners. Oh my god, just look at them just moving along splendidly. Oh wait, hold on. Our water reserves are getting full. Just absolutely beautiful. Oh no, wait, these shouldn't be getting full. Never mind, we should be fine. Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Yo.
What? Oh, hey, wait, give me 1 second. Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Changing the name.
All right. What's up? How's it going?
Hey, it's going well. I'm on a tirade right now.
Tirade against who or what?
I'm just talking about good thinking and motivated thinking.
Oh, Jesus.
I know. I got to a place with Sneeko where our separation was essentially he was convinced that like the reasons for, I'm sure you're aware, like the reasons for why certain things are deplatformed, certain ideas are quelled is like
because they go against the matrix and blah blah blah, right?
If they're denying it, then it's probably true. And I
Mhm.
basically was like, I need proof that these people are playing 90D chess. I think it's way more simple and it's just 2D chess. Like they're motivated for like certain financial things, and they think a couple of your ideas are dangerous ideas, and then rather than being like honestly more ethical and having like these ideas like battled out on their platform, they'd rather just have it off of their platform so that they don't have to deal with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, it's got to be more than that. So now I'm talking to Chad about like basically patternicity and like good thinking, and man, I need to find a really rhetorically interesting way to talk about essentially bad thinking or good thinking, because that is the worst way to say it. It's not interesting, right? Like I don't know how to explain to people like what bad thinking is, what it looks like, and how to identify when you yourself are doing it. So
I don't know.
It's so important.
Yeah, I don't know if I was just like a special kid and I was just super receptive to it for some reason, but I always said that like there's like 3 classes you should take. You should have to take a philosophy class, a psych class, and then like some kind of finance class. So these are like 3 required things I think for every human being. One of the most, I might have mentioned this to you, but the most important thing that I learned in a psychology class was never to trust my my own like memory or my own perceptions of things. That like I obsessively need to externally validate, because oh my god, I am such a fucking unreliable record keeper of my own existence. There are so many things, like you study so many things in psychology and you see so many experiments and you never come away thinking like, oh my god, it's phenomenal how like accurately the human being records this instance of this thing happening. Oh my god, it's phenomenal how resistant we are to social pressure and how unique and individual every single human being. Like it's never that. It's always like, oh my god, you can convince somebody to lie about the size of a line even when other people can't see their answer if 3 other people around them answer in a certain way. It's always the opposite. So yeah, that experience in high school was so important for me. It's like, okay, I'm not going to trust anything that I remember. I'm always going to find ways to like externally validate my experience, because I'm so unreliable when it comes to my own shit,
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of like basic psychological principles that I think every single person needs to understand, which is like, have you ever heard of the term patternicity?
No, but if I had to guess, it has to do with human beings' horrible penchant for seeing patterns where there are none, but I could be wrong.
Well, it's both the greatest gift of the human mind and the worst problem, because patternicity is the fundamentals of learning, right? If you like,
you're copying this from a Destiny stream, but yeah, go ahead, explain it for my audience again. Yeah.
Okay. I don't have to mansplain at you. It's just like, it's this fundamental axiom of essentially like when things get paired together repeatedly, we tend to make associations with them over time. This is what the biological process of long-term potentiation is based around, is patternicity. And so it's like patternicity is really, really valuable when, like, for example, when you're like bumbling around in the forest and you hear a twig snap and you assume that must be a bear and you run away and then you save yourself from the bear, or you eat that green fruit and you fucking shit for 3 days straight. And so you realize green fruit's bad idea. Patternicity is super helpful for that, right? Patternicity is also the roots of stereotypes, and stereotypes by themselves are only a problem when they become prejudicial and applied to the individual, right? But then they also lead to things like superstitious beliefs.
Yeah.
And so this is what I try to say is like, humans are, like, this is the issue with Sneeko. He levies a lot of really legitimate criticisms. The issue is that your legitimate criticisms aren't proof of your conclusion, and your conclusions are pretty bad. In fact, most people's conclusions about why the world is the way it is are bad. That's why science is kind of
necessary.
Important.
Otherwise, why the fuck would we study anything? We could just rely on our intuitions for everything, And like you said, intuitions are really valuable and really good for living in the forest. But they're not very good for the very complicated world that we live in today. A lot of the like built-in systems for the human body, I think, require you to overcome them and train your mind in a certain way to not to just not fall prey to like. Our body was designed for a certain environment, and if you pretend that it's the environment that we live in today, it's not going to work, right? Like, think of like sugar, right? You're designed to crave sugar because it tastes so good and it's so awesome. But like historically, you're not going to run into a lot, right? It's going to be very, very rare to find things that are high in sugar. But today we've got access to infinite amounts of sugar, and what happens? Well, we're all fucking fat because our brains are designed to like crave it and love it and never. I don't think there's anything in the human body that's designed to regulate diet, because why the fuck would you need to? If you get too fat, it's going to be harder to hunt. You're going to lose weight. Like your diet diet and your weight probably auto-regulates really well when you're a hunter-gatherer. You're not going to find super fucking fat tigers or super fucking fat wolves, because as soon as they get too big, they're going to have trouble keeping up with their food. But obviously, now that we've removed our bodies from that environment, there are certain systems or routines that still run in our minds that are poisonous to our existence in today's world. But it's hard to get people to believe that.
This is why this is one thing that I think I disagree with you on, which is why I think age is a heuristic for like wisdom and like knowledge and experience and like essentially like some level of responsibility is a terrible heuristic, because like back in the day, in like 1820, if you lived to be 70, first of all, you probably had excellent genetics. You were fucking lucky, and you had to be damn smart to be conscientious enough, careful enough, and have the social support system around you to take care of you when you got sick, to keep yourself careful, to keep yourself reasonably healthy, and also to probably not be like lumped into doing like really, really shitty, terrible jobs, right? So like by the time you're 70, you are really wise. The problem is that like nowadays, getting to 70, getting to 40, getting to 30 isn't a fucking achievement. We have modern medicine that keeps you alive, and we have air pollution that just like inserts plaques into your brain, which is why like I am very hesitant, because I know you'll say like, this guy's like 24, like, you know, dismissive. And I don't know how dismissive.
Wait a second, what was the thing you disagreed with me over then?
Wait, which?
Wait, am I crazy, or did you open that thing? This is one of the things I really disagree with you about. Did you open with that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because often you'll say like, well, they're young, and you'll kind of like dismiss them out of hand, or like be like, you don't know this yet because you're young. And like maybe you're mostly memeing or like riffing. I don't really know.
Oh no, I'm not memeing at all. Or wait, what do you think I apply that to where you think it's not fair?
I think a lot of places where you apply it, it's not really fair, because I think like
Weasel, give me an example. Go. I'm ready to fight.
Damn. All right, I'm doing the thing. Come up with a concrete example right now.
Well, it doesn't. You don't have to be like, cite me on the. I'm just like, what's a general thing that you think I'm not fair about with for young people or whatever, or for some people where I'm too eager to blame it on age or something.
Okay, let me think. Oof.
The two biggest examples on my stream.
I'm trying to be careful. I don't want to start drama, man.
You're
I
not
don't want to
starting
say
drama. The two biggest people that I usually cite the age thing on stream would be Sneeko and Lav. Those are like the two.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think there's a granule of truth there, but also a problem with it, because it's like Lav being as young as she is, she's not so young that like certain things, same with Sneeko, there's certain things that they could and should know, because being like 24 or 22 isn't really the best heuristic for like why you wouldn't be aware of like maybe why you shouldn't say like things loudly into public or like things like this, because like we have so much information at our hands to like learn that I really am hesitant to ever use age as like a dismissal, particularly when it's like connected to like experience.
Yeah, so when I use age, I don't typically use age as a dismissal. I use it to try to understand why somebody is at the stage of development that they are at. Now, age is always going to be a heuristic because people tend to have certain experiences at certain ages. But I try not to say like, oh, well, he's this, so he's going to think exactly this because of his age. But like, for instance, like 23, 24 might be an age where you start working and you have like big change-ups in life. Like arguably the biggest change in life is 18 when you leave your parents' home from high school to college, or if you leave after college and you go somewhere else, right? These are like huge milestones in a person's life. And it's around these times that you might start to see people developing in certain ways because of experiences they're getting, working a job and hating it, working a job and loving it, leaving groups of friends, finding new friends. And these are experiences that kind of like flesh people's minds out a bit, such that like, I can understand like pre and post thoughts about that. Like, let's say somebody says, if you've got a really good friend, the coolest thing in the world is living with that friend. That's like that's the best experience ever. If somebody says that, my thought is like, okay, you're 16 or 17 years old, because really common experiences when you go from high school to college and you live with friends is a lot of people find out, holy fuck, my best friend is the worst roommate. That's an experience that people, kind of learn to grow. And then same thing with like, Sneeko and well, I'll say Sneeko particularly, and maybe it's just because I see so much of myself in Sneeko. Sneeko has this idea of like, if I am doing the right stuff, if I am quick enough, smart enough, fast enough, if I can maneuver through these environments in an agile enough way, I can say and do whatever the fuck I want because I'm right, because I'm funny, people like my content. That's an idea that I had in my early mid-20s, but I think eventually you get hammered down by the system enough that at some point you realize, okay, I need to figure out how to keep my shit on the rails. Because if I don't, I'm going to get destroyed. And that's a lesson that I would expect an edgy person to learn in their early mid-20s. If somebody was like that into their 30s, I would have a lot less sympathy for them, because they should have had enough experience by that point to realize you can't get away with saying this shit. And if you're 35 and you still feel this way, you're never going to change. But if you're like 23, 24, I can understand where you're at, and hopefully you'll grow out of it. But yeah, go for it. Sorry. If I ever talk too much, you tell me to shut the fuck up.
No, you're good. Sorry. Nope. I'm about to derail into a different thing. I agree. I understand why it's a.
Oh my God! Don't couch your language so much. If you super disagree, just say I totally disagree with everything you say. Okay?
I don't totally disagree with everything you say.
Cool,
I think you're
'cause I'm right.
outlining why it's a fundamental heuristic, why it's a really helpful heuristic. The issue is that I think a lot of the people, specifically the young people who end up on streaming, to some degree, like for example, the idea of they can't really know better, they don't really know about the internet and throwing their world out and not being impulsive and stuff like that. I don't know if I fully buy it, because like the age at which young people are getting like infused into the internet and beginning to understand the consequences of the internet is like increasingly young, right? I think when we were, for example, like 19, 15, 16, I don't think we as a culture really understood it. I do think Gen Z does, though. I feel like this idea that like when it experiences specifically on the internet of like culpability of what you say, I feel like Gen Z deeply knows this because they've been learning it for like 10 years earlier than we have. So I think the interpersonal stuff, like knowing how to navigate jobs, knowing how to navigate like relationships with people who aren't your parents and stuff, that's a decent heuristic, because yeah, people move out around these times and graduate and stuff like that. But when it comes to like certain internet stuff specifically, I think that the heuristic is failing because the world is essentially shifted.
I feel like people, it's one thing to say that you learn at an earlier age, but it's another thing to be able to be confronted with like the consequences. Like you can say that like there's a certain way that you're supposed to act on the internet for sure, but like you're not really learning that until like you're like, for instance, if let's say I act a little racist on TikTok or whatever, like I might get an account banned, but I can always make like another one. Nobody's gonna remember who the fuck I am. I think there's a difference between like somebody like Sneeko, who, yeah, maybe he learns like what is proper decorum on the internet. You learn that at an early age, but you don't know what it's really like to be held accountable until, you know, you become a popular of a certain size, right?
But then doesn't the popularity have way more to do with just like experience of being popular and less to do with age? Like why would a 35-year-old who's never been famous on the internet have any more like wisdom about this than somebody who's like 21?
They wouldn't. I wouldn't expect them to. But that would be like more of a rare situation. But like, yeah, if there was a 35-year-old and he was going through the same things that Sneeko was going through, and I'm like, bro, you're 35, what's going on? He's like, oh, I just got into YouTube when I was like 32. I'd be like, oh, okay, I can understand that kind of, you know, depending on your work history. But like, it's pretty rare that people start internet work at that age. But if they did, then yeah, what you're saying, that would be like an acceptable like thing. Like, okay, I can understand why you're at this, you know, stage of your development. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super fair.
But I feel like there are common experiences that like young people have that explain a lot of what Lav and Sneeko are going through. So for Sneeko, it's the young, and again, I just might be reading my own shit into this, but like this is why I had so many problems in the StarCraft community, and it's why I got fired from my job at the casino. I was the best worker at the casino in that whole fucking casino. I was the youngest black badge in the whole fucking place that was a supervisor. I was 20 years old, underage, and I was supervising. I knew every area of that job on the floor, but you know, back of house. I could do prep work. I could work at every fucking. And my thought at the time was, I'm so good at my job. I'm never getting fired. There's no fucking shot. It's just not gonna happen. I'm so good. And if I get into problems with my manager, I'm gonna email fucking VP of Food. I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I need to do because I'm so good at this job. And I didn't play corporate politics well at all, and I got fired. I was like, well, fuck me. And I didn't even learn that lesson. I take a long time to learn sometimes. I didn't learn that lesson in the casino job. I went to the StarCraft world, and it was the same thing. I didn't get verified on Team Liquid for way longer. I was the largest streamer in the world, and they wouldn't verify me because I didn't play the politics games of Team Liquid. I wasn't on any of the teams. I fought with everybody. I got into teams. I got kicked off teams. I got on Twitch. I got kicked off Twitch. All sorts of stuff was happening like all the time, and it took me a while to learn that lesson. And I see Sneeko like learning that same lesson, you know, now of like, you gotta, just because you're really good, just because you're really entertaining, that's not enough. You have to learn how to navigate the environments correctly, you know?
Sure, I just don't see that as a function of his age or Lav's age. Because, for example, if you look at Lav, I mean, nothing about her life is in any way stereotypical of like the modern American experience that you're describing that like lots of young people have, right? She had like this drug addicted mother. She was homeless by the age of 16. Like, this is what I said to her. in many ways, even at your age, you probably have significantly more life experiences and difficulties than most people at 42 have. And that doesn't mean that she's learned from them necessarily.
Mhm.
However, there's an element of experience that you assume with somebody's age that I don't think maps on very well. And in many ways, I think the ages of which people are experiencing them are vastly changing based on, like, for example, like affordability. People are going to school later, they're getting married later. There's like lots of things that are changing these heuristics of age that we would normally apply, and that would be decently reasonable.
Yeah, maybe maybe I'm backward. Maybe I'm motivated reasoning my way here to believe this. I feel like Lav perfectly fits into her age. A lot of people have difficulties with their parents. A lot of people have, like, I feel like it's the quintessential late teenage, early 20s experience to believe a certain thing, realize that it's bullshit, and then want to completely and totally change your entire life. I feel like that is like the defining moment of early, mid-adolescence, of where you're like, you know what? I used to do this thing and fuck that thing. It's the worst thing ever. It's actually fucking evil. And now there's these other people that I listen to and they tell me how evil that fucking thing is, and I'm totally going away from that. Like, that feels very much like that mindset to me. And I feel like I see Lav like exemplify that. Even when she can't defend the position, she feels so strongly about it because she hates so much like kind of the where she came from, what the past thing was. But maybe I'm trying too hard to like fit that into some pattern, but that's what it feels like to me, I guess.
That's interesting, because that would essentially what you're pointing to in a lot of ways would actually be more like developmental markers of like adolescent brains. For example, like, I don't know if you're familiar with like the Piagetian conception of like development of like cognitive abilities of children. There would be like things like concrete versus abstract. Like typically under 10 kids can't do abstract, but by the time they're 12 they typically can. So I'm agreeing with you, so I look flip-floppy, but what you're saying could map on with some elements of like, when we look at the Piagetian stages of cognitive development, they map on really, really well. The issue is that we kind of stopped at 12 because nobody cares about adolescent research for whatever reason in the field.
I would also say
it's possible that these are adolescent brain tropes due to like development because the brain's not ready like fully until 25.
I would be careful with that. People cite that a lot, but it's not the way that people, like, when people say that the human brain isn't fully developed by 25, they pretend that you're mapping a line diagonally from lower left to top right, when it's way more like an asymptotic like approach to like development. Like, a person develops way more from age 0 to 1 than they do from 24 to 25, right? You have way more cognitive and mental development from 10 to 11 than you do from like 21 to 22. Like, a person by the age of like 20 or 21 is going to be most of the way there. Yeah, 25 is roughly when the brain finishes developing, but it's not like from 20 to 25 we're developing the same as we would from 15 to 20. Also, a lot of the stuff related to that cognitive development, there was at least one major study that showed this. When you talk about like impulse control and impulsivity, this is one of the things we say, well, when you're 25, you get way better at that. When it comes to making good decisions, adolescents perform, I believe, similarly to people that are 25 and older, given that they have some time to pause and think about a decision. Now, like for an impulse, they might do like kind of poorly, but cognitively, given like, okay, we'll take an hour to think about this, I think they perform about on level with people that are 25 and older. So it's not always like, you know, when you're 16 and 17, your brain is just fucked. It's like everything is a slave of the development of your brain. I feel like a lot of it comes down to like, what are the life experiences that you have, would be my feeling.
Yeah, sure. Maybe let me rephrase what I was saying, because I think you maybe misunderstood a little bit. When I'm talking about like the cognitive presuppositions, I'm not saying that like somebody between like 23 has like functionally at like an anatomical level, like a little tiny baby brain, and they still need to grow a lot of axons and dendrites. I'm actually talking about like really common cognitive biases and precursors that we see in different age groups that are way less understudied in adolescence. So for example, this is why with like a 3-year-old, they don't have very good permanence of volume. So this is why you can take a little kid. So say you've got like a little kid. I used to do this all the time when I was nannying. You've got a kid under 4 and they want a sandwich, but for whatever reason, today they've decided they want fucking 2 sandwiches. And you know that they can't eat 2 sandwiches. So what
Nathan
you do
does this every single fucking time we go out to eat. He'll be like, can you get me 2 cheeseburgers and like a chicken nuggets? I'm like, bro, you're not even gonna eat your fucking one thing. Why are you asking? But he still does this at 11 years old. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, I wish he was under 5, because if they're under 5, what you can do, but if you're busy, you turn around, you go back to the kitchen counter, you cut their sandwich in half, and you place them a little bit differently.
Oh, and you bring
give
them
it back
too.
to them, and they feel like they have 2 sandwiches now, right? Because they have no conception of volume movement. But then we see as they get older, for example, that capacity to like transmit volume and sizes based on different like based on like surface area that it's spread out on seems to come online. So for example, a very common teen bias that we see is essentially like the main character syndrome. We're essentially like more or less like you pretty sure that everyone's eyes are on you and that like you have a unique fundamental experience that nobody can possibly understand. Because in a lot of ways when you're a teen, you're forming like your peer-to-peer relationships.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm saying like it's possible what you're saying with Lav and stuff about like this bias that she has of like what did you say that she had? Fuck, I'm losing it.
Like the quintessential teen, late teen, or this
The rebellion,
yeah, rebellion.
switching
Yeah,
sides to
I
sides.
used to do this thing, and now fuck it, it's the worst thing. I'm gonna be the exact opposite. Yeah.
Yeah, so now I guess I'm positing like it's possible that that could be a cognitive bias that we see like diminish as the brain like kind of finalizes its form. I guess I'm just not wholly convinced of that, but I'll be fair. I haven't seen any science one way or the other. So.
It could also be too when you talk about things like main character syndrome and how those things might theoretically be reinforced by certain levels of actual physiological cognitive development of the brain. I imagine it would probably get easier to be stuck there if during that development you get hardcore reinforcement in the worst way because you're streaming. Right? Like
Yes.
I've joked
Oh,
about this
God,
a lot that like, yeah, if I was a streamer when I was in my most arrogant stages of being 16, 17 years old, holy fuck, I would be the worst type of fucking person. It wouldn't even be close to how fucking disgusting I would be as a human being. To have all of that reinforced at such an early age.
Because how old were you when you got into streaming?
22?
Okay, so you were actually still really young. So in a lot of ways, there was like, you weren't like 15. Like there's definitely something different that happens when a 15-year-old, like we've seen like Justin, we've seen what happens to the Biebers of the world, right? Like it's a pretty consistent pattern.
Yeah, I was definitely young, but I would say a little bit older just because I'd been working since I was 16. I lived on my own since I was like 18. Like I'd already gone through a decent amount of real life experience such that like when I got into streaming, a lot of that like arrogance of my invincibilities of being 16, 17 had definitely been shed because my life was essentially already destroyed by the time I got into streaming. So I was a pretty humbled person at that point. Going from like doing all AP classes to being a fucking carpet cleaner, making, $1,500 to $2,000 a month will humble a person really quickly.
Yeah. Do you think there's any chance that you experience a level of like survivor biasship where essentially like you don't see some of the capacities and things that you've come to on your own as like a unique thing about you, but more of like an expression of basically like the luck, the external circumstances that you've had, and that like fundamentally you're not too different. Anyone could really be in the position that you are if things were different.
I try to actually. I feel like I went too far on that actually. Survivorship bias, like I said, I learned all sorts of different cognitive biases growing up, and there were a lot that I wanted to be very careful never to fall into. So survivorship bias was a big one because like it's very easy for me to like do like the Sneeko thing, like everybody should get into online content creation and do this and that and this and that because I did it, so everybody can do it. But I think that I went overboard in my late 20s, especially thinking like, oh well, I'm just like everybody else and everybody can be just like me, and it would lead to me giving a lot of bad advice sometimes. And I think I've had to dial that back and realize that like, yeah, most of my life I think has been me catching really lucky breaks. Like I'm always going to agree with that. That's almost certainly true. But I think there are a lot of ways in which I'm truly actually unique. And I need to account for that when I'm giving advice to other people. So like for the example I always give is that like I would always tell people, I don't understand how you can ever have a toxic family connection. If somebody's toxic, just cut them out of your life and stop talking to them forever. Who cares if it's your mom or dad? Like that's a piece of advice that I would give because I could do it. I don't care. But I realized that like, okay, well, hold on. Maybe my view on like family connections is relatively unique and that's not a realistic piece of advice I could give to people.
Okay. Interesting. Do you think that's part of, now I'm going to go into a whole other meta, so feel free to just like tell me to shut the fuck up if you don't want to go into this. Because one thing that I've noticed about you that is for sure a mind read, so tell me if I'm wrong, is that it seemed, we were talking about the boundaries a little bit before I talked to Sneeko. In that like it seems like essentially you have like minimal boundaries.
Wait, hold on. This is a fucking troll. $1,500 a month when Destiny was 20 was like $6,000 a month today with inflation. He's trolling me. I know he's trolling. Sorry. I almost just fucking flew off the handle. Sorry, go ahead. I almost got so triggered. Say what you're saying. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
So one of the unique traits you said that you have is that you can kind of like essentially cut out toxic people immediately when you need to, which is different than most people. Most people have kind of like, oh, I can't. They're my friend. They're my family. Blah 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 blah. For whatever reason. There's another really unique thing about you that I think most people don't have, which is that like you don't need a lot from relationships. Like I think pretty genuinely, like you're just a pretty content person. You've got a really good life.
Yeah.
And because of that, you make basically almost no asks of people, but you're also pretty nice. So if people make asks of you, you're pretty willing to accommodate it as long as it's not like egregious or like breaches certain ethical values. Am I understanding you correctly first?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Do you think that there's any way these two things are linked with like psychological phenomena of cutting out people who are toxic very easily, but also having like needing very little and whatnot?
Oh yeah, of course. I think that they like this is it's a just so story, and I can't know for sure, but like my guess would be is that I grew up in an incredibly independent environment where I was getting very little from other people. So most of the stuff I wanted kind of had to come from myself. So as a result of that, the connections that I form with other people are very nice and fun, but they're not emotionally necessary for me. So, you know, what looks to some people, it looks like, oh my God, Destiny, you can cut out people so easily. But the answer is that, well, it's because there's not much to cut out there at all. Like when you're cutting somebody off as a normal, emotionally developed human, you're losing a close friend that you've shared like some intimate emotional history with, that you've relied on for XYZ. And it's like, fuck, that sucks. But for me, it's like, okay, well, I just lost a person that I enjoyed talking to. I'll find another one.
Right.
But
And
it's
there's
probably
very few people that move into that category where like if you lost them, it would do like actual devastating emotional harm to you.
Very, very, very few, yeah. But I think it's just because I grew up in a way of having to be very internally, independently driven, such that like, and it's probably, you know, right, you grew up in an unstable environment, you learn to like basically power yourself, because if you rely on other people, you're always going to be basically fucked over or disappointed. So it all kind of like goes into that form of
Sort
development.
of.
Yeah.
What's interesting when you look at like childhood development, for example, like one of the things that I love most about like more modern child developmental research coming out of the trauma field is trying to understand the complex patterns of both how a major stressor in a childhood's life interplays off of their somewhat predisposed personality type. For example, in my life, I also had to be very internally independently driven. In many ways, like my parents, it was not as extreme as like your childhood by any means, but I was basically like, my dad has like at that time undiagnosed autism. He's kind of a workaholic. He's never really there, and when he is there, he's not emotionally available and kind of had rage issues. And then my mom is dealing with my ADHD, at this point repressed gay brother, who's having like rage blind fits. And I'm this like neurotypical kid who's good at school, who's like decently popular and good at sports, and like people seem to like. And so like in basically like I almost never got homework help. I basically always did my homework by myself. And I talked about how I was like raised by my dog emotionally. And yet it's responded to me in that I have like very intense, like when I get really close to somebody and then I lose that relationship, a big part of like some of the self-work I had to do in the past was figuring out how to let that go. So I had like in many ways a diametrically opposite reaction to a very similar type of like childhood, at least attachment level experience.
Yeah, there's part of that you said that's very interesting to me that I think I've come to accept more recently, and that is that different people are predisposed to break in different ways when they're faced with childhood adversity. So but I don't know where those predispositions come from. Are those other environmental factors hidden earlier, or are they like biological factors that
epigenetic?
Or genetic or epigenetic or something. Yeah, because two people exposed to the same stressor, sometimes people will be broken in totally different ways. Some person might become overly dependent. Some person might become overly emotionally independent or cold or detached or whatever. And it's interesting to see that, for sure.
Yeah, and one thing that I noticed that's like really separate about us as well is it seems like our selection of friendships is really, really different. Because your one of your main selections for friendships is fun, like fun and interesting. They like make things engaging. And I think even you and I talked once about how like being bored and not having like some level of mental stimulation is like an almost unbearable experience. Yeah, right. Which makes sense why you would be selecting friends on like interest and being interesting. Which is why your subreddit should stop calling me boring. I'm just kidding. I'm genuinely
you are
kidding.
kind
I'm
of
sorry.
I'm sorry, but you are kind of like the most like you're mentally well adjusted. So I mean, you're pretty boring given the current cast of characters.
I accept it.
Yeah.
I would love to be a palate cleanser. Okay, I'm gonna be the water chestnut.
Boring. You need to be.
I know.
You need to ramp it the fuck up. Okay. Are you even trying? But yeah. Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna go collect some traumas and then I'll come back and try again. Okay.
Based. Thank you.
Whereas, so you typically select on like interesting, but it feels like that gets you into like dicey issues, for example, with like friendship selection and stuff like that, maybe past partner selection. I'm not totally sure.
Meh.
Because interesting is not exactly the best metric for like who you should probably like connect your wagon to essentially.
Yeah, kind of. Careful on those words. All of those are very normative loaded. Who should you be with? Is it getting you into trouble? Blah, blah, blah. Like, these are things that on the outside, they look true, but then I always have to remind people that, like, not really. So, like, for instance, when people say, like, oh, well, it seems like you get into a lot of trouble based on who you choose to be friends with. And it's like, well, the only trouble I really get into is that my dating partner will get really fucking irritated at, like, the drama that I'm involved in. But for me, like, I don't really suffer any harm. Like, even if you think of the most dramatic people, like, say, like Anna, right, is one of the most dramatic people, like, Anna didn't really, like, personally cause me much harm. Like, it was definitely annoying, but it was also a lot of fun, like fighting online and figuring out all that. Like that all is like very exciting to me, and I very much enjoy that type of conflict. But the thing that kind of like starts to weigh that down is when people in my life get really personally affected by it. Well, now it is a little bit different because now they're being like super negatively affected, and now I have to kind of think about how I balance it. But for me, like people say like, oh my God, like I get this a lot. You're the worst judge of character because you end up having so many crazy people in your life. I was like, those are exactly the kind of people that I want in my life. Like that's the most entertaining and fun shit for me. Like, and I mean, to some extent, like it's not even just for content, because it's not like I'm sacrificing my own personal health for content. It's like it's content for my stream and for me too, because it's like it's so exciting and fun to be in those types of like crazy situations. Like I personally, and I like them both, even if they disagree at this point, Max and Lav, I would consider the way that they navigate conversations to be, and I'm not like mincing words here. I do think it is psychologically abusive. I think they both have hardcore tendencies to navigate conversations like that. But that is like being in a conversation where I know that Max and Lav were on stream talking and coordinating about. That's why Max came on and was able to defend Lav's points because they previously rehearsed it and talked about it. Having both of them trying to mindfuck me at the same time on a public stream with like 11,000 people watching, where like everything's going. That's a really exciting environment for me. I love that. That is so insane. Like how often do you get like two people trying to like mindfuck you at the same time? Like with everyone else, like yeah. So I know that people will look at things and be like, oh my God, like you're making such bad choices. Like bro, this is exactly where I want to be. This is so fun and exciting to me. But yeah.
Right. It's like filling that like stimulation need maximally, in fact.
Exactly.
Because there is nothing more overly stimulating. And what the level of stimulation that situation was to most people would call like highly distressing. And
For
to
sure.
you, it's like, but it's maximally stimulating.
Yes. Yeah.
Why do you think you have the stimulation, like the internal stimulation need and drive? Because I would say it's like, I don't think I've ever met somebody who's so driven by that. Like I've met like certain people, but I would say it's like distinctly like turned up on the dial for you.
I mean, it could be an ADHD thing if I do that cringe shit. This is like, I understand that everybody has their particular struggles that they have with life, and everybody has their thing that they go through and all of that, blah, blah, blah. I guess like the way that I've always viewed it is coming from my life, like twit-longers and rape accusations and people calling you names and trying to dox you and harass you and call the FBI on you and maybe people showing up and trying to kill you. That type of shit is like, it's all like fun and exciting and cool and dynamic, and it feels like a movie and it feels awesome. My life before this was like staring down the end of my broken down carpet cleaning truck, you know, cleaning homes in a city that, you know, destroyed me, it was every day reminded of my failure as a human being, that I could go to such a great height to be an intelligent high school student, enter college as almost a sophomore with all my AP credits and dual enrollment credits, and then be a fucking miserable failure of a human with absolutely no future in front of him, living with a girl that was physically abusive towards me, who was pregnant with a child that I didn't want, in a house that I couldn't fucking afford, with a job that I was going nowhere in, with a college education that I'd failed, and my past career that I'd been fired out of. That is nothing that I've ever dealt with as a streamer will ever be even remotely close to the unimaginable fucking misery of that lifestyle. So when I come into this area here, and I've got the ability to be stimulated in a million different ways, and I'm getting paid a fuck ton of money for it, and at the end of the day, I can like, if I don't like Twitter, I can turn it off and be done with it. I can turn my stream off and be done with it. Like, that's fine. This is so much easier than the shittiness of working class, dead-end fucking life that I've always been able to kind of like, I think just because of the background that I came from, this is all like so much fun compared to that. Like, I would always choose this over that. And then like the stimulation and everything here is like this, it's so much fun, and there's a lot of high stakes online, but the actual stakes are very low. So in a way, it's like the most critical type of like excitement and stimulation where there's not really anything at risk, because it's all online shit at the end of the day to me. So yeah, sorry, I guess that's kind of where my brain, sorry, I kind of rambled on that, but did that make any sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. It's actually really interesting because like the conception that you have of the streaming world is almost like polar opposite to most people in the streaming world, where it's like the stakes are really high, it could ruin their life. They can't just turn their stream off, like they can't. They like report experiencing like they're always working at all times. Even I would say like this totally resonates with me of being like, It's a weird job that like, at least when I like was working at the addiction center, when I drove away, the job was fundamentally over unless I was on call that night, right? Whereas with streaming, at any point in the day, some like major thing could drop and you need to be aware of what's going on. You need to be doing research, getting caught up. So it's like there isn't really a point to stop.
Yeah, true. I guess I like one of the things that I'm lucky with is that I made a conscious decision to only do the type of content that I like. So whatever I'm doing on stream is stuff that I would do anyway. So there's that really corny ass saying of like, as long as you do what you're passionate about, you'll never have to work a day in your life. Like that's unironically me. Like if I got banned from the internet or if I was never an internet person, like I would be, what would I be doing? I would be fighting with people on Reddit. I'd be calling people names on Twitter, and I'd probably be grinding League of Legends or playing Factorial. Like I'd be doing the same fucking shit, you know, just with less girls in my life, I guess. but otherwise, it'd be the same shit. It's like fuck, this is what I do. This is fun for me, and I always prioritize that in terms of like my stream content, so that I don't have to be one day waking up and be like, oh god, like I have to cover this and I have to do this and blah blah blah, or else my whole shit is gonna get fucked, you know.
Does that make it harder then to have like long-term kind of like lofty goals? Like if somebody's like, what's your 10-year plan? Because it's like, well, I'm just kind of doing my life and I just happen to get paid for it. Or maybe I could be wrong. Maybe I'm putting myself too much in your shoes, but does it make it harder to have like long-term like, goals fundamentally with like your quote unquote career? I think it is a career, but in a lot of ways it's also like just your lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could. I think that was a problem that I had before, but I've kind of, I had my little C.S. Lewis arc. I've had a lot of time to personally reflect, and I think I've gotten a better handle on like what I need to do personally for like long-term goals. That's something I've thought about more, that I have a better handle on now. Yeah, but in the past it definitely did. But I think the issue there with long-term goals is that like I was very like hedonistic. I still am to some extent, and it's like, well, as long as I'm happy and I'm doing what I want, like why the fuck should I have any other goal? Like I'm happy, I'm enjoying my life, like I'm existing on a higher level than when I was cleaning carpets I ever thought I'd ever have access to. So yeah. The success can, what is, you've seen The Dark Knight Rises, right?
Yep.
Yeah, when Batman is down in the sewers with Bane and he says, victory has defeated you. Like, to some extent, you could argue that, yeah, my lifestyle had kind of done that, where it's like, well, I'm really successful. Like, why the fuck do I need to do anything else, you know?
Yeah. Long-term goals are somewhat functionally opposite of, like, your main driver, which is, like, long-term goals are not immediately like they're not interesting in the way that like screaming with somebody live trying to like kind of like mutually gaslight you is stimulating, right? Like they're slow, it's monotonous, it's like the thing that like most people try to pursue and find because it's really hard and it is taxing and it's not interesting and it's unfun for a large portion of it. So like how do you integrate these two things of like pursuing long-term goal, pursuing essentially what sounds like meaning, while being mostly driven by the desire for like what's interesting, what's fun?
How do I figure out like long-term goals?
How do you pursue them too? Like, how do you prioritize them?
Well, I guess the thing that I kind of like figured out recently, the change that I had before was 6 months ago, I would have said that like a person's responsibility in life is to just be happy. Like that's like figure out what it makes you happy and then, you know, do that. I think that like the thing that I've kind of changed my mind on recently is, it's hard to put into words why, but I would say that like every human is uniquely talented to do different things. Every human has a unique gift to excel in certain areas. And I think you kind of owe it to yourself and to human society to pursue those unique talents the best way that you can. And that's kind of what I use in terms of like long-term goal guiding principles. That like, if I look at, well, what am I uniquely suited to do? Besides building glorious fucking factories that are more beautiful than 99% of Factorial players, there are other things that I think I'm uniquely good at. One of those is having challenging political conversations with people that are very different than me. I think I'm like probably one of the, this is arrogant, but whatever. I think I'm probably one of the best people in the world that's capable of doing that, or at least in the English-speaking world that I've ever seen on YouTube or Twitch. So if I'm capable of doing that at a really high level, but I spend all of my time just playing video games and kind of jerking off and doing nothing, it feels like I have an individual talent that's almost a crime to waste, to not pursue. Like it's almost a crime against humanity to not pursue that.
The doctor in
the village that I use example. Yeah. So like if I have the ability to do that, I think I should build like medium and long-term goals around that. So that's why I keep talking about the media company, but so much dramatic shit keeps coming out. But like the college campus talks that I did, those were really fun for me. I really enjoyed that. A lot of the conversations that I've had with far right figures, maybe someday I'll share those emails, but like I'm super happy, even with how it all kind of crashed and burned, I'm super happy with the responses that I got from Fuentes fans for those conversations. And I learned a lot reading in those communities and having people communicate with me from those communities. And then like the conversations I've had with larger and larger podcast people, the ability that I have to go into different types of communities and get respect, even fresh and fit, even being, you know, half gay and even being a soy cock in an open relationship, like I'm still able to get like a level of respect from those communities. Yeah, I think I'm doing a decent job at pursuing that type of stuff. And then the medium long-term goal is spinning it into more like formal content. So like the Change My Mind college stuff, or hopefully something related to like media in the future with that political project that's still kind of on the back burner. But yeah.
Do you think that you're also uniquely gifted at changing people, like your own audience's mind?
I don't know. I mean, every audience will probably change to some extent with their content creator, unfortunately. I think I'm uniquely gifted at being able to cultivate an audience in a way that where I'm still in control of it. I think that's really hard. A lot of people like make fun of me for my moderation style and shit and say I'm like really sensitive, but I don't think I am. I think that if you read my subreddit, I get a lot of pushback from my community and different things. I'm really happy when it happens. And I still find myself, which I think is good, I still find myself cringing sometimes when people defend me and I'm like, you really shouldn't be defending me here. Like I did kind of fuck up. And I'm glad that I still have that feeling where it's like, it's okay if I fuck up and some people hold me to account. You don't have to defend me for every single thing I do. I'm happy that I still have that feeling internally. I'm really happy where my community is, even though I am, like, it's very rare that the streamer themselves is the moderator of a community that is successful, because most of them devolve into the creator, like permabanning everybody that gives them any criticism whatsoever. And I'm really happy that my community is, like, I would say one of the more accepting communities on the internet for especially like minorities, trans people, etc. We're working on the woman thing now. That's the final frontier, I think. But yeah, I'm really happy where most things are for stuff.
You
like
need
that.
to stream with Lily. That'll solve it. Just play Valor with Lily and
True. I've got like a whole, like, there's a whole group of like women that I've kind of been talking to in the background that I'm about to start like wheeling on stream more for like better representations of women on stream. But a lot of them don't want to come on because they see like the reaction that my community already has to women to some extent. So that's part of the reason why I'm trying to like form like better responses to women, like no more Coomer images, no more obsessing over their appearance when they come on. Even as a joke, it just feels so off-putting and alienating to other women that want to come on stream that I'm trying to curb down on that before I bring them on. Yeah.
Do you think another issue, this is something I think I talked with Brittany and Lav a little bit about, which is about like the somewhat like masculine nature of like debate bro style, where like, I remember Lav saying to me like, sometimes she really struggles because when she's been in this space, she feels like she has to like engage in like a very masculine way that she's not really used to.
I don't believe that at all, but go ahead.
That's fair. It might be like a cope on her part, but I think it actually raises an interesting point that like I, for example, have to deal with, which is essentially like in this space, obviously there is a much smaller window for like where women can exist. But also like there isn't a good social script for women and how to engage in debate bro landscapes where they don't just become like kind of toxically masculine or like screaming and or you could argue maybe toxically feminine or whatever you want to label it, like passive aggressive and condescending and like nasty and mean. And if they're trying to be above that, it's like, damn, you need to be like so beyond approach as a woman to like be taken seriously, to be like convince people and not be attacked on your emotionality or being too much of a bitch and stuff like that. How do you want to offset the culture as well a little bit to like make it more friendly to like a more like feminine I'm trying to not use woo-woo words. Feminine energy, let's just go with it.
I think that feminine and masculine energy can exist, but I think that like masculine energy is just better. It's just so much better in so many different ways that I like, rather than trying to make people accept feminine energy and function in a feminine way, I would rather continue to encourage women to embrace more masculine traits.
Are you memeing or are you being serious?
I'm being serious.
Why do you think masculine is better? Okay, this might be something we can fight on.
Yeah, so like when you think of like a traditionally masculine approach to like a conversation, like the idea that like being strong, being able to defend your points well, being maybe potentially argumentative, like I think
assertive,
assertive. I think that these are awesome traits that men and women can embody. I don't even like calling them masculine, but we can call it masculine because that's the dichotomy that people work on. But rather than saying like, oh no, like we should take very soft-spoken, shy people seriously and blah blah blah, which I mean we should, but like I would rather encourage women like, yeah, like get out there, be type A, like act like a man in a debate, like do shit like that until the stereotype is broken. Which to some extent, like in the working world, it kind of already has been. Like women are allowed to go out and make money and be in control of their destiny and not be a slave to a fucking husband and shit like that.
Don't you think in part though our society has like always kind of undervalued like again these quote unquote like feminine traits of like even with like the rise of prominence of like feminism and stuff, I feel like a lot of feminism is really great for women like me that kind of already naturally like engage in this like masculine space. I tend to have a much more masculine styled personality. I'm a lot more aggressive, a lot more assertive. I want to fight with people all the fucking time. Whereas like that warmth and softness and like acceptance and nurturance and like all the things that we would kind of archetype as being feminine. In a lot of ways, feminism carved out a space for women like me to exist, and that's fucking based. I obviously appreciate that. The issue is I feel like we haven't spent much time convincing society that like the quote unquote feminine traits are a deeply valuable thing. They're equally valuable for obviously, like, I don't know if they would be as valuable in a debate sphere necessarily, but damn, wouldn't it be nice if we had like more appreciation, like really like respect for people who make you feel seen and loved and okay for just existing, which I would say is like a much more like archetypally feminine thing to do.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Do you think you need more feminine then?
I think in terms of like feminine stuff, I guess actually the actual answer is you should embrace like the best of like both of these worlds. So
yeah,
I would say that in terms of like, I guess it depends on what you consider feminine, but I think that in some ways, I think I embody a lot of like positive feminine traits. So when I'm having drawn out conversations with Max and Lav, I'm willing to be open. I'm willing to be emotionally vulnerable. I'm willing to make that person feel as seen as I think I would say anybody has for people like this. And I'm willing to like be very patient and kind with them in terms of like walking them through their thought processes. There's definitely a different hat that I wear there versus when I'm like arguing or hardcore debating, which I don't even really do that much anymore. But yeah, I guess you could argue that in a sense that's like those are feminine traits. That I think you should probably embody during conversations, yeah.
Yeah, it's like time or place, right? Like you need to know like which hat is like required for different things, right? If somebody's like salaciously lying, being aggressively like actually bad faith with you, and trying to like undercut your arguments and like intentionally obfuscate to promote an idea that's bad, right? You probably should be like assertive, aggressive, and like really try to be like, no, these ideas are fucking bad. Stop trying to weasel, right? But if somebody's like waffling back and forth and they're trying to be a little bit more sincere, that's a shift in your approach that I've seen when I like look back at your old debate styles is kind of that like greater, softer and warmth that I think like is one of the most frustrating things about Twitchable. This is why I fucking love talking to Sneeko is he's actually for all of his flaws, he's damn good faith. He actually listens to what you have to say and takes it seriously, which is nice.
Yeah, I think Sneeko is a very thoughtful person. I think he's just kind of lost on some dumb shit right now. It's basically what I always say.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, and people doubt that. It sucks that like I think that Sneeko he's put himself now in an environment where like if he goes a certain way, I'll understand it. Like if he's never coming back to the Matrix again because he feels like everybody's burned him and fucked him over. Like I get it at this point. Like when you've been banned from everything, it feels like everything in his life is basically reinforcing everything that he said before. You know. But unfortunately, yeah, hopefully, like it takes a big man to grow out of that and figure out like, okay, fuck, I was right about this, but I was super wrong about this, and I need to grow and change in these ways. It's really, really hard to personally reflect and figure that on your own. I think that people don't realize how much of human society is ran on rails. Like a lot of what we give ourselves credit for and a lot of the quote unquote moral decisions that we think we're making have really been made for us. Like society is making those decisions for us every day. The best example of this is men cheating on their wives when they become famous. That like every single guy is saying like, oh no, I'd always be faithful, I would never do this or that or blah 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 blah, and it's like, okay, that's because you don't have the opportunity to. It's not because you're a good person, it's because where you're at in life is basically always locking you down that you don't even have like the option to cheat. But when you put them in famous situations, like obviously that circumstance changes a lot, and you see a lot of people kind of like bend their morals and shit because of the opportunities in front of them. So yeah, I think a lot of like what we, to quote, I'm quoting so much of the Batman, but like to quote like the Dark Knight, the Joker says, people are only as moral as society allows them to be, but when the chips are down, people change. I think that's absolutely true.
Interesting.
Go ahead, do you disagree? I think it's one of the, I can give a second example too, maybe if you want more to chew on there, edgier example. Something that I used to always say, stop me if I've talked to you about this particular thing before. When I was a kid, 23-year-olds talking to 17-year-olds is really fucking weird, because why the fuck would a college senior or post-college person ever be talking to a high schooler? The only way that's happening is if you're going to loser parties that you don't belong to, or if a high schooler is sneaking to a party that's already a lame party because a high schooler's there, or if you're literally camping outside fucking high schools looking for kids to fuck, or if you're the creepy older brother or sister that's like chasing like a younger kid. Like, there's no reason.
Your geographics never overlap unless you're
exactly.
looking for it.
But today, 23-year-olds and 17-year-olds might be in this, fucking 25-year-olds and 15-year-olds might be in the same Discord and internet chat rooms. And when men and women, or boys and girls, are together in the same environments, they will form relationships and they will fuck. I don't care what the age gap, to eliminate it. If it's a 9-year-old, you got problems. But if you take like a girl who's like in their mid-late teens or whatever, and she's chatting with a dude that's in his mid-late 20s or fucking 30s, like if they start talking, the guy's gonna see a girl, girl's gonna see a guy, and shit's gonna happen. And people like to think that like, no way, that's evil and horrible and blah, blah, blah. It's like, in society, we don't ever think about that, because when you're in high school, you're with people your age. When you're in college, you're with people your age. The internet has connected older and younger people in a way they never had. And that's why you're seeing more and more and more, I think, these types of relationships form. Because people didn't realize before how much on rails you were when it came to protecting you from these types of arguably immoral relationships, you know?
Mm-hmm. And so then the premise is essentially, are you basically saying like the road to being moral gets more, is this like the good place argument? The road to being moral gets more complicated, the more difficult, the more complicated the world gets, and the more like intersections
more options
and pathways are out to take.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of actually like what Dan said when Dan was like, you should always put yourself in a situation where you can't make mistakes. Like that's right. Society kind of does that automatically for us. But when shit gets more complicated and you've got more options, I mean, look at the carts in any store parking lot, right? When nobody's forcing you to put the cart back, how many of them are rolling around because nobody's doing anything? You know, how many, you know, I think it's that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and so you're saying basically like with Sneeko, he's like going down the wrong path more or less because like he's got more options available, or how is this specifically connected to Sneeko?
How is this specifically connected to Sneeko? I don't know if this point was specifically connected to Sneeko.
Okay,
I think it was just in general, like, yeah, people are only as good as... Well, I guess you could argue that, like, yeah, Sneeko has more options available to them in the way that he conducts his life. Like, people will look at Sneeko and go, like, oh, like, what a horrible person. And it's like, you've never even been in a position where you have to think about the things that he has to think about, right? Like, because you've always been given the answer and the path and everything you need to do in life, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would basically mostly agree with that. I would just argue that essentially, like, that shouldn't be the out that people use to explain why they're not doing like more moral things. Like I think most people are in auto mode for the most part. I don't think people really think super closely. The issue is like when somebody's thinking really closely and genuinely trying to be like thoughtful and engaged, that's when I start being like, if you do have an infinite number of options, but then that also means you have like insane amounts of information that like you can be course correcting on your own. And so like in many ways I would say like, yes, it is like easier to fuck up probably now and be immoral. But also if you're trying to be on, if you're trying to actually be like engaged, or as you would say, not a bot, there's almost an element of like a higher calling of like you should do more than.
What do you mean by that? Explain that again. Or you should do more, like...
If you have access to like the complex world around us and the information, especially in the age of information that you have, and you're trying to genuinely not be just turned off, you're trying to think. You don't want to just be in like auto mode, which I think most people are for very human understandable.
Oh, sure.
Right. When you're working a 9 to 5 and you have 3 kids at home and like your whole day is getting up, getting to work, getting home, feeding your kids, taking care of them, and then going to bed. You don't have like a lot of time to like ask deep existential questions about like whether or not it's like moral to eat the tomato that you're eating right now. Right. And even bigger conversations, you don't have time for much of it. The issue is like when you're in, for example, the space of like your job is to be a thinker. So like lots of streamers within their circle. I think at that point, I can't give the same excuse because like your job is to think to some extent, and therefore like, and you have the time for like information at your hands. So like do the thinking.
Sure. It's just, it's hard. So be gentle.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I am quite gentle. I think that's like probably something I'll get in shit for over time is that I'm gentle. It's just things being hard. I think that like the greatest moral issue is like oftentimes the things that are the most moral or the most ethical are hard. It's hard to hold to your ethics when they apply to yourself.
Yeah, I don't give credit to people that act. This is why like my quintessential, like I don't like middle class people that were born middle class that make fun of lower class people that were born lower class. If you were born middle class, all you had to do was show up every day to the game of life and you're guaranteed to stay middle class. There's nothing impressive. You don't get to brag about it. Good job. You make 80, 90,000 a year. Your parents made 80, 90,000 a year. You did everything you're supposed to. you don't get to look down on the guy who was born to a family of working class people and ends his life being working class, you know, back problems when he's in his 40s and 50s because he's done construction work, and make that guy feel like a loser because you're a loser the same way that he is. He was born lower class, he stayed lower class. You were born middle class, you stayed middle class. Why aren't you a fucking millionaire if you expected him to be a computer programmer, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's essentially it's hard, but things being hard isn't the out.
Yeah, not all the time. Just an explanation. Yeah, they for sure are. Yeah.
Yeah. How much do you determine levels of relationship or like trust that you have with people based on their willingness to be like consistent with the like ethics and morals that they've outlined and clearly thought about, when appealing to those ethics and staying by them is going to be sucky for them, right?
Wait, say that again.
How much do you utilize the consistency with which people apply their own moral framework to themselves as a measure of whether or not you trust them as like a friend or somebody that you're gonna have interpersonal relationship with?
Maybe highly. I don't really take people's political shit seriously anymore. I usually just look and see how people act. Like, I think I've gotten old and I shouldn't say that, sorry, I don't want to trigger you. I think I've gotten through enough in life to where I see that like people's politics don't really have anything to do with the way that they treat people. Especially when I look at like a lot of the online, like Twitter progressosphere or whatever. Like, these people are completely and totally like identical to the bullies of high school. They act in the exact same way. They group up with other people to make fun of sometimes immutable characteristics, and then they try to bully and ruin the life of people they don't like, oftentimes off of like stupid minor reasons, and oftentimes to signal to an in-group that they're really cool. It's bully behavior. It's the exact same thing. So I don't like somebody's political or moral beliefs I don't really care about. It's more just I usually look and see like what are the actions of a particular person, you know? Because there might be like some people, and there probably are some people who are like, you know, they're fucking religious and their mind is fucked on all sorts of like stupid, in my opinion, like theological beliefs. But then when you look at how they act in real life, they're super decent people. They do their best to treat everybody around them with respect. And I grew up in the Midwest, and I met a lot of people like this. Like, there's a lot of Catholic preachers that I knew growing up that were teachers or mentors in high school that I would trust far more than somebody that is like, I've read all of Kant and I'm the perfect, philosophical, moral mastermind. Just because I've seen the way that they act. This is always a thing that I say, like, actions are so much more important to me than words. I super don't give a fuck about somebody's moral philosophy or how well they debate ethics, compared to like, what is the history of actions you have?
Yeah, for sure. I just think there's something, like, at least for me, one thing that I find that makes me uniquely, I will trust people way more when they say some sort of ethic that they value. So say they're like deplatforming for like bad reasons, even if they're bad ideas, deplatforming bad, right? I'll respect them infinitely more if, whether it's their in-group or out-group that gets deplatformed, they'll speak the same thing. They'll say the same thing and they'll hold to it. Or for example, like any other ethic, I'm having a hard time thinking of examples that like might apply to yourself. But for example, okay for me and not for thee is like my biggest frustration. Like if somebody espouses a value and then I also see that their actions align up with that value, I trust that person way more, and I also respect them more, because then I know in the future, it's quite likely that the next thing that they say that they value and they believe, I can actually take them at their word, and I don't have to do like mind games to figure out what you actually think and just wait for your actions to like slowly put together who you are.
Yeah, okay, so I think we said the same thing, but in different words, because I would argue that you're not talking about a state of belief, you're talking about an action. If somebody tells me that they're anti-deplatform, whatever, I don't care. That doesn't tell me anything about you. But if they demonstrate it, if they like, oh my God, if they actually come out and they support somebody that has been deplatformed who's like politically opposite to them, then it's like, oh, okay, this is a person I can fuck with. I trust you because you've maintained a consistent action through a difficult set of circumstances, basically. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, did your Factorio factory get
These motherfuckers ate all my shit. I had so many turrets. Oh my God.
They're like orbiters.
Shut up. How did this happen?
That's fair. Interesting. So we're saying the same thing, based.
There's that, I read that essay, the in-group, out-group thing, and then there's that reference to that Father Chester Brown story or whatever the fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
That you like. We don't know if you're actually. It's easy to be empathetic to people who you don't think have sinned and don't think have done something.
Yeah, or
you're
not really forgiving them, right? It's like when people are like, oh, like I forgive her for murdering her abusive boyfriend. It's like, fuck off. Like, do you forgive her boyfriend for being abusive, right? The best example of this is most exemplified whenever somebody progressives don't like goes to jail. Holy shit. Black man goes to jail for doing too much crack. We need to have a rehabilitative system where we do all these blah, 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 blah. You know, cop goes to jail. I hope he gets raped so hard he fucking dies and bleeds out. And it's like, oh my God, what the fuck? Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, I ruffled a couple feathers yesterday in a debate when we were talking about like toxic masculinity and incels and men, and we got to the point of agreeing that like incels probably need major mental health interventions, and that like while their behaviors are obviously bad, wrong, you know, blah 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 blah. Probably the response of like vilifying them and just like continuing to push them to the outskirts of society is not going to be the functionally like best solution to this situation. And like we basically all agreed on that. And then I said, but you know, if you like watch this thing and you like made fun of Kyle Rittenhouse for his panic attack, or you constantly make fun of Jordan Peterson for crying, you don't really have like a good leg to stand on to really say that you care about dismantling toxic masculinity, because you're still saying to men basically fundamentally, if I don't like you, your emotions aren't okay. And that upset a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Yeah.
Question. Okay, derail totally. Okay, I have two things. Number one, remember when I invited you to go jet skiing?
Yeah.
Since you didn't make it jet skiing, I feel like now you owe me some sort of makeover stream.
Okay, not at all, but I'll hear you out.
As a transaction of our friendship, that would really make me feel valued.
Okay, I don't care, but yeah, just tell me what you want to do.
Okay. I think I gotta get going to the gym, so I'm basically pretty Deb. Any more thoughts?
No, I don't think so. The thing that's hardest for me is when I do like big events is that like basically what happens, and I just need to plan things out, is like I'll basically text like 6 people. You were one of these, I'm like, what are you guys doing? And then it's like whoever responds first, it's like, oh, we're here. And it's like, okay, I'll head over. And then after that event is done, I was like, okay, well, who's doing what? And then it's like basically that. Oh, and the other thing that hurt a lot was you guys were in a fucking Airbnb like 5 miles away. It's like, fuck, like if I want to go and hang out with these guys, I have to like either get a car or Uber over, or you guys have to Uber. It's like a much more kind of arduous ordeal process to find everything. Yeah.
Just so it's clear, I'm almost holistically joking and memeing. I have very minimal expectations of somebody who's busy.
Oh, okay. Sounds like you're having a problem setting boundaries, but...
I am fucking amazing at setting boundaries. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
It's just that hold on. Do you think expectations and boundaries are the same thing?
Yeah, they can be. Depends on how you use the words.
But
But I'm joking. I don't think that I'm just kidding about you being bad at setting them, though. Yeah.
If anyone's bad, I think it's you.
Oh, nice. No, definitely you actually know, if you're going to say that, but... Okay.
Really?
I'm tired of biased psychology takes from 5 minutes Google searches. Wish you had people who had actual specializations. Well, one day we're going to kick Erudite off the stream and I'm going to bring on real people with actual psych backgrounds. I'm sorry that, I waste time on losers like this, but I'll try harder in the future, okay?
True. That's why we got the not so in front. Anyone who takes it too seriously is a fool, and you fell for the Matrix plot.
Base, true.
All right, are you going to keep streaming? Can I read into you?
No, I'm going to be done. I should have been done a while ago, so...
Okay. All right. Thanks for chatting.
Have fun, be careful, okay? Wait, was your chat with Snako good? How long did you guys talk for?
He had to go, and I crashed in the middle of it, so it was like an hour, I think.
Fuck.
Yeah, unfortunate. It was good though. It was actually interesting. I'm curious. You should if you have time. No expectation. If you do end up watching it, I guess watch it public so I can watch your reaction to it. So I can.
Yeah, I'm not watching it privately. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Keep an eye out for it. Yeah. He's at an interesting place right now. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Have fun.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. All of my turrets are destroyed, but the walls are not. So I think I need to Jesus. What did I just say?
You're seeing this, you've reached
Okay, I need to go. It's fucking late. I'm fucking up right now. I'm not supposed to stream this late.
classical music is If you're seeing this, you've reached classical music is racist TikTok. The fact that classical music, which is really the music of 18th century Western European cis straight white male composers, is valued as the highest form of art music.
Okay, straight, all of them? I don't know about that one, Chief, but...
in America is an example of white supremacy. Those who go to college to study music will spend countless hours studying music theory, Western music history, and more, and most schools only have one class requirement or no class requirements for world music. This means that educators are woefully unprepared to meet the standards of understanding global interdisciplinary and 21st century connections with music. Task forces like this one are arguing that the music major needs to be changed to be more all-encompassing and actively anti-racist. But in the meantime, those who are music educators have to struggle and wrestle with the question, how can I be actively anti-racist in teaching music in a system that values white supremacy? Follow me.
Cringe. Okay, since my walls weren't being destroyed and they're just walking around my walls, we have to put more walls up. That's what we do. Boundaries, more boundaries. There we go. We'll try this. This looks secure, right? There we go. Beautiful. Keemstar mentioned while beefing with Keffels. Oh no, don't do it, Keemstar. Don't feed her. Keffels is like dying. Let her die. Let her die. Don't give her attention. Don't give her attention. Don't do it. Oh, I bet she started fighting with Keemstar here. Okay, I love you guys. It's been fun. I'll see you tomorrow. Peace out. Oh no, I won't see you tomorrow. I've got an interview in the morning, and then I've got a pretty important dinner at night. Maybe I'll tell you guys about it in a day or two. I'm not sure. Or maybe I can tell you about it tomorrow or the day after. We'll see. Rip on, duders. Ripper and a cappuccino, poppuccino, hoppuccino, moppuccino, dampuccino, cappuccino, appuccino, al pacino, my duderinos. I will catch you guys next Streamerino. Host low tier god. Wait, is he streaming? Will you be on Scuffed on the 28th? I can't be on Scuffed. Huh. Oh, he's gonna talk about the Kanye thing, I think. Fuck it. Yeah, here you go. Fuck it. Go watch. Oh, it's not gonna let me because I think he has to have it turned on or he has to be following me. Redirect privileges needed. Ask Low Tier God to add you to their live redirect list. Hey, if you guys are ever in his chat, tell him to do this tonight. And then next time I'm streaming, I can host him if he goes live or if he's live.
Tats are amplifiers for insecure men. If you feel like...
But he's got to find it. He's got to find out how to set that up. I can't figure that out, so. All right. Ripperino, cappuccino, poppuccino, hoppuccino, moppuccino, dampuccino, cappuccino, appuccino, my duderinos. I will catch you guys next Streamerino. Peace out.